What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. It's good to see you on this good old, Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. How y'all doing? How's everybody doing today? Welcome. I'm going to let y'all come in and spill in. Why don't y'all go to the top and look at this damn monologue somebody left. Hyena Hustlers. And then just bounced. Ooh, this is going to be a good one today. I love when we trigger people. It's not why I have this name, but still. Isn't it weird how when we talk about topics that mean something to men who built this world, all of a sudden people get upset? What agenda could they possibly have if they're getting upset at people talking about what affects them and ways to change it? Says a lot about the people writing these posts, does it not? I believe it does. I believe it does. But welcome to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network, the greatest network on YouTube. Thank y'all for coming out. Oh, it's going to be a great show. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited. And I know some of you are excited too to chop this up, talk about this topic. This might hurt some feelings. Some people may not even be able to bear it because they feel like they're losing out on something, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. Either way, it's always good to, talk about these things. It's time to have the uncomfortable conversation. It's about time to have that conversation. There's no need to beat around the bush anymore. We are at that fever pitch, that point in society, that pinnacle where some people just can't take anymore and changes need to be made. This is one of those hot button issues. All right, so stay tuned for what we got. Shout out to all my viewers nationwide in the U.S., East Coast, down south, Southwest, Midwest, West Coast, even the mountain and desert areas. What's going on? I'm over here in the good old H-time. All right. It looks like we're about to get good weather, so I had to throw the polo on, Looks like the weather's going to be excellent today. Go get the car wash, ride around a little bit. You know how we get down out here. You know how we get down. But I hope the weather is improving. I know it's been a hell of a March. March looked like January in the Northeast. Hope y'all got some weather improving for y'all. Hope y'all get a little bit of warmth because I just got to tell you, my wife from New York. I'm originally from New York, but wasn't raised there. And so every once in a while we have these talks like, you think we'll ever go back to the East Coast, New York? I said, cold weather? Cold weather? Ha! Not me. What Rick Ross say? Oh no, not me. No, I'm not going back. Sorry. I'm here. This is where we're going to be at. Or we're moving to warmer climates. Can't do the cold no more. Do y'all remember when you were young? For those of you from the really cold, I ain't talking about just, it gets nippy here. I mean, East Coast, Northeast cold, below 30 in the winter. Do y'all remember waiting at the bus stop? And if you were poor, you didn't have good gloves. You didn't have North Face gloves. Your mama got the gloves from the beauty supply store. Them shits, it's like you had on nothing. You remember that? When you sitting there in the cold waiting on the bus and the wind just cutting through them thin ass gloves. I'm never going back to that. Ever. Hell no. Every time I think about the cold, I think about how I had to do that day in and day out in the winter waiting on the damn bus. Not doing it. Cannot do that cold weather anymore. All right, for those of you who are notorious for coming in and just perusing through and enjoying everything we have to offer without dropping a like, shame on you. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Get these likes all the way up. Let me see where we're at. We need to get 50 likes. We're at 46. Go ahead and get those likes up. If you have not hit that like button, please make sure you hit the like for the YouTube algorithm so they know this is what you're watching that gets you through your workday or your time at home. Okay? We appreciate your support in that way. Thank you for getting those likes up. Hit that like button, search for it on your phone or on your desktop. Hit that like button and show your support. Also, subscribe if you have not. The Lapeef channels, so the Lapeef Network and the Lapeef Experience channels are excellent channels, putting out content for you every single day of the week. You got something, whether in the form of shorts, clips, or full shows with panels or, open panel or fixed panel, we got something for you on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you subscribe to the Lapeef Experience channel as well. And what I want you to do, if you want to show your support, if you really want to show your support, I want you to hit the share button and share this out to somebody who may not know about the Lapeef Network or the Trigger Mike Show, and let them know this is what you're watching and why they may want to be a part of this conversation. Fellas, and I mean, sorry, ladies, but fellas are the ones who pay child support like 90 something percent of the time. Fellas, if you know somebody that may want to participate, even if it's just in the chat, to tell their story on this, all right, to tell their story on this, go ahead and share this with them. Hit that share button and let them know we're talking about child support today. Okay, let them know, come tell your story in this chat and tell them that stuff you told me that happened to you, that the court did to you, or that woman did to you. Because sometimes it's not always the woman, not always. Most of the time it is. Sometimes it's the court that levies unfair judgment against you. Then you can't get another court date to correct it. Then they keep pushing your court date back and you keep spending money. I don't have these circumstances, but boy, do I hear the stories, especially when I was in counseling for one of my first jobs out of college. These dads are just struggling and you just hear the stories. Even the kids know what's going on and can tell you the stories. All right. So make sure you support the show as well as we continue. As we continue the show, if you would like to show your support, you can do so in the form of super chat. We love super chats. This equipment is expensive. So make sure before we get through the first topic, if you love the Trigger Mike Show and the Lapeef Network in general, drop us a super chat and show your support. If you're watching this after the broadcast is over, send a super thanks and show us your support. You can do that if you heard something you like from either me or any of the panelists. Show your support and drop a super chat or a super thanks. We really appreciate it. All right, who I got in the chat? Who do I have in the chat this good afternoon? Hyena Hustlers, no words for you. The Gemini, what's going on? Jerry, what's up? E. Chanel, how you doing? The show hasn't started and he hates it already. Hate comes in many forms. You know what? That means they love the show. I'm not even playing. That means they loved the show. To hate something, you have to have first loved it or admired it deeply. Okay, so they'll love me again. They'll love me again. Trust me. King Alexander 43, what's going on? Greg Wright, what's up? What's up? What's up? George Sims, Mr. Ray, yep, Mr. Sims, yeah, this it is corrupt. It is corrupt. Jill's Chocolate Boutique, thank you for the DM. I'm gonna go back in there, look and see if I want to order something. Gotta see how I'm gonna hide this chocolate purchase, because if she knew it was for more chocolate, as much chocolate I already give the kids, but I'm gonna order something, don't you worry. Y'all check out Jill's Chocolate Boutique. K Bird, what's going on? Yeah, support your black people. Check out that chocolate boutique. Get her information. Quincy Ferson. Phil G Zone, what's going on? Walk the talk, how you doing? 455 bench press, what's going on? Fifi, how you doing? Empressy Vibe. My man Trucker Yale that lit the match on this whole topic. What's going on, bro? Big Pressure, what's going on? My man Clement Gray, we got D-Town Conversation in the house. My man, Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Y'all check out and subscribe to his channel as well. All right, Captain Caveman. All right, let's get it started. I mean, I'm actually going to drop the link early on this one. As I told you, I don't have this circumstance. Make sure you call in and cam up so we don't have any foolishness with anybody flashing stuff they ain't supposed to be flashing. All right. I'm going to drop this link early if y'all want to come in the back and tell your story. Let people know exactly what happened to you. But I'm going to tell a story and why I feel like this needs to be talked about. So the topic for today is child support unconstitutional? Get those likes up before we start. I need those likes all the way up. We need Where we at? 71. Get those up to 100, y'all. Look out for your people. Get those likes up to 100 right now. Hit that button. If you're just joining us, welcome. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. But get those likes up. Hit that like button. Some of y'all at work ain't even supposed to be listening, but we appreciate you anyway. So since you already listen, how about you turn your head back on over to that phone and hit that like button? All right. Is child support unconstitutional? I don't have these circumstances in my life, but I don't think there's a black man that's not affected by these circumstances either directly or indirectly. Let me explain. These are important things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the show yesterday, when we were talking about this, you could see the excitement and the exuberance in all of the people, all of the panelists that have some kind of history with paying child support. Why would they be so excited about such a thing? That speaks a lot to this issue and this problem. Because these men want to take care of their kids, of course. Of course they do. Why would they be so excited? I think I know why. Hear me out on this. In case you have reservations, if you think this topic is BS, hear me out on this. There is no time in history where people will not celebrate another person taking their foot off of their neck. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that. If you believe the government and the child support system, whether federal or it's even state, the state system of child support and the threat of going to jail behind it is a foot on the neck of fathers, put a 1 in the chat. There is no time anyone will not celebrate getting a foot taken off of their neck. Stop asking why men are excited about this. Stop acting like it's some kind of method to absolve them of responsibility and duty to their kids. I can make the argument that it hinders them from taking care of their kids. I know what you're going to say. Well, the average child support payment is only $400. It's not about that. It's about control. You always, in these things, come on, man, we're more intelligent than this. We are more intelligent than this. It is never about the issue on the surface. It's always an underlying issue there. Always an underlying issue there. It's about control. Nobody on earth will not celebrate and feel relief from getting a foot taken off of their neck. Stop asking why men are excited about not paying any more child support. No man feels good about having a woman try to dictate circumstances to them. No man. If you are really a man, you would handle your responsibility. In fact, how do I know this? How do we know this? Go look up the numbers for men who have custody of their kids. Go look up those numbers. The most white men have the most custody of their kids when it's not the mother. Primary custody, I mean. Men don't even ask. The number of men that ask for child support is very little. We will handle our responsibilities on our own. That's why y'all are afraid. We're the opposite of you. We will handle our responsibilities on our own. Get your foot off our neck and let us take care of business. This is an exciting topic. Such an exciting time in history. This started, if y'all don't understand, let me put this in a little bit of perspective for you so you don't understand. I've been sitting in my mind wondering how feminism was going to be defeated. If it's not women doing anything, it's powerful men putting their foot in their government stronghold and government influence, putting their metaphorical foot on the neck of poorer men. That's it. That's it. We call it the system. The average man that just wants to go to work and take care of his family, that didn't come from anything. It takes him a while. It takes him a while to build his value. Men who already had value by extension that somebody gave to them, more than likely, decided to make coalitions to empower women for their own financial gain, putting their foot, on another man's neck. Why wouldn't we celebrate that? But I kept thinking, like, how are we supposed to defeat feminism when it's men doing this to us? It ain't the women. They're using the women against us. It always defeats itself. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a recurring cycle that's happening. My wife doesn't even know when she says some of the most profound shit she's ever said. We talk about this stuff all the time. Rather, I talk. This is why I have a talk show. But anyway, she said, doesn't society just correct itself anyway? That was so profound. Society is just going to correct itself. What you are seeing now is society correcting itself. Feminism has reared its ugly head at various times in human history. It has done so during the Roman Empire, Greco-Roman times, Egyptian times. It has reared its ugly head. Go read the books. Society just corrected itself. That is what you're seeing here. The people scream oppression, which are women. You scream unfair circumstances, and the men, out of their love for you, decide that you should have more, so they give you more. What you are seeing in real time is the realization that we've now given women too much. If you believe that women have too much say-so, too much influence given to them by other men, put a 1 in the chat. We need balance in all things. Balance in all things. This is a correction of the imbalance in our society. Ladies are like, you don't want us to have any power. No, someone gave you too much influence. It's not even your influence. You didn't create it yourself. This is a course correction. Women fought for more rights. You got them because the men voted for you to have them. Now, as a result, you push too hard. You want too much. You abused your privilege. You abused whatever proxy power you were given. And the men are coming for their shit back. Whoo! We coming back for that shit. It was never yours to begin with. Sit your ass down. We coming back for all of it. Have you ever thought, ladies, for 1 second? In fact, let me take a moment because we're going to do this on Friday. We're going to have a show where we're just praising the beautiful, feminine, cooperative women we got in the world. So we're going to do that on Friday. Feminine, furious, feminine Friday, whatever. I haven't even named it yet, but that's what we're going to do on Friday. But let me tell you something. Done lost my damn train of thought out here. But men are coming back. We're coming back for it all. Make no mistake. We're coming back from it all. No time in human history have men not celebrated having a foot being taken off of their neck. Society is correcting itself. Women have been given too much. The link is in the chat for those of you that want to come up and speak with me. Let me tell you a story. And like I said, there is no man that isn't directly or indirectly affected by this. I'm going to give you a story on how I came to understand how bad this child support issue was. I was a manager in a behavioral hospital. I did the scheduling for the techs and the nurses, and I did more administrative duties and things like that. I had a guy come to me. He was in the orientation class, had no idea what he had done for a living. I did my part of the orientation, met them. This guy comes to my office almost immediately and just sits down and just asks me a flat out question. How much can I work? I work during the day. What shift can I work to get the most hours? I said, well, you work during the day, so morning is out. Afternoon shift is 3 to 11. Overnight shift 11 to 7. He said, can I do a mix of those? Yes. Can I do those with overtime? Yes. That's all we talked about. And he said, as much as I can work, I will. Great. I always need more techs on the floor. Happy to give him the hours. I found out a little later after getting to know him that he recently broke the engagement off with his fiance because she cheated. All right. So another guy that came in with them knew him from college, and that was the big story. They had a child. They were getting married. She cheated. He broke the engagement. So that was about a year to the time that he took that job. He needed all those hours because even though they had an arrangement where he was paying money, he even kept the child most of the time. The courts were not involved. She put him on child support. The baby was about 4 years old. Take a guess in the chat what they did after that. They did not acknowledge any of the work he had done prior and put him on back child support for thousands, I forget, tens of thousands of dollars almost, I believe. I got a call from HR about him. That is back child support. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. He changed. He changed. He was doing the job because they broke up. Then she put him on child support. Let me tell you how bad this was and why I have no respect for women like this. I really felt bad for the guy. He worked the nights when they were available. He taught middle school in the day from 8 to like 3. Taught middle school. Would work from 11 to 7. Sleep for less than an hour in his car. And the only reason he got a job at that hospital, the only reason was because it was maybe less than 2 miles from the school where he taught. This dude would work all night long, teach all day long, go pick up his daughter from school and take her home. You cannot tell me these men have no work ethic. This is a black man, by the way. And I just want to tell y'all, just in case you think this is some kind of sympathy story, this man is not a principal of that school. Shout out to him. Some of y'all that know me, now you know the story that I'm telling because you like, yeah, y'all know who I'm talking about. He don't mind that I tell this story. He is now the principal at school. Y'all clap it up for him. But that woman did him wrong. That woman did him wrong. That man slept in his car for like 40 minutes. Ladies, we understand if you have no sympathy for that. I do. Because we don't hear stories about you doing that. I understand some of you, will probably bring up one story about a woman who did all this to pay child support. It's not common. It is not. The law benefits you in this way. And unfortunately, too many women take advantage. Shout out to the ones that don't. We'll be talking about you on Friday. Shout out to the ones that don't. But remember, this is a win for men. This is a win for the fellas. This law will benefit families. For those of you that don't see it, I believe that this will also maintain integrity in custody arrangements. So what happened to my friend cannot happen to anybody else. You can't just say he wasn't giving, or you can't allow the lawyer or whoever's in charge to just say that. You will make an accurate accounting of what that person has done up until that time, especially when they kept the child more often. You cannot wield power in that way. And I hope that power gets taken from you. The children are not safe. They're better off with their dad anyway. Two-parent household is preferable. But if y'all can't make up, please give that child to their father. They need him. We need to give the power. We need to give men power over the family, and all of this foolishness will stop. That's what this is about, ladies. It's not about bashing you or what you've done. Everything you were built for, you can do. Everything you were built for, you can do. We were built for this. We were built to lead the family. I'm sorry if you don't know any men good enough. Look harder. We out here. We were built to lead the family. If you would move out the hell out of our way and stop trying to put your little ass foot on our neck, you'd find out soon and swiftly that we got this. I got faith in the fellas. We got this. The threat of jail is too much. You don't have that hanging over your head. So maybe you don't understand the excitement of the men that have to go through this. The threat of jail for a woman is almost non-existent in almost anything. When I teach my gun classes and women try to give me scenarios in which they think they're going to go to jail, I said, if there's an assailant at your door, it's most likely a man. You can shoot a man through your door as long as you say you were scared. The threat of jail is almost non-existent for women. So why would you understand why men would celebrate a foot being taken off their neck in this way? But let me get off my soapbox. It's panel time, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be on child support to talk about this. We're talking about the government system in general and the future of the black family, most notably, but the future of families in general. If this gets repealed, if it gets deemed unconstitutional, what happens to our families after that? What happens to our relationships with our women after that? This has a huge effect on the black community specifically. Okay? My man Trucker Yale, you there? I see you in the back, bro. If that's you, come on camera real quick, if you can. Let me read some of these. Trucker, I can't see you, but all I see is black. I don't know what's going on with your camera. Let me read some of these. One True Diva says, men wear protection and stop being in a position to make a baby with a woman you have no plans to marry. It's not a game. These are real lives y'all helping to create. Do your part. Nobody can disagree with that. Nobody can disagree with that. That's not what we're talking about today, though. Men do need to wear protection. End of story. End of story. But you know what? There's an analogy I've recently concocted on this particular tip, but I'm not going to argue with that because that's not what we're talking about today. That's sex ed. Men should be able to file a civil lawsuit against a female that has come between a man and his child by using a court system and coaching a child into mentally suffer from child alienation syndrome. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. I do not believe that women will understand the gravity of their actions, the destruction their actions can cause until those same consequences are levied against them. They understand consequences. The threat of jail over their head, the threat of paying something back will make everything real for them. No hate involved when it's just what's best for the child. No hate involved at all. All right. Who else we got? What else we got? Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Pookie simps are the root cause of child support. LOL. That's actually not true. Divorce is the root cause of child support. If I'm not mistaken, some of y'all are better historians than me. child support, we got to stop using this as if it's something that started or is with black people, or it's something that's associated primarily with black people. It's not. At the time all of this was conceived, black people were the most married people in the US. So it was unheard of. This was a concept that was unheard of. Just got to do the timeline correctly. It was white men. It was white men that were leaving their wives destitute. Affluent white men at that, going off with their concubines, leaving their women destitute. And if you don't know, the government has a knee-jerk reaction to that type of thing. Because if you don't care for if the man doesn't care for the woman is going to lobby the government to do so. The government is saying, I ain't nobody's daddy. We see that didn't age well because they're trying to be everybody's daddy. That damn sure didn't age well. Let me get 2 fingers, Trucker. Yeah. Well, good afternoon, Red. Chilling, bro. All right, talk to me. What you got on it? You heard the monologue.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that it's finally starting to change. I'm glad it's changing. I already foresaw that this safety net that women live off of is starting to disappear, and then when it disappears, they're gonna finally have to choose right from the beginning instead of later in life. So that's how I feel. I mean, deal with the consequences. Like, they understand that they're going to choose wisely on who they have kids with. It ain't no more, well, you got, I got his baby and he got to take care of this child regardless, even if he don't want to, this, that, and the third. It's like, no, you got to choose that guy now. You got to look at that guy more than money, or more than for just his, not more than money, but more than for, like, more, I want to say, more than his dick. You really going to have to choose the guy.
Damn. I got a question for you. I just want to get your thoughts on it. Do mothers use child support / the court system to control the kid's father?
Hell yeah. That's an instant. Yeah. Now, I would say it'll be different if the mothers actually put the right people on child support, not the actual dudes that actually that don't deserve to be on child support. The fathers that actually want to be in their child's life and they actually do right by them in the whole 9 yards. But we see how this go. They make us suffer for other people's mistakes. So yes, they do what they do. They like savages out here for real.
So for those that don't know, you have a very interesting story, bro. You got a very interesting story. I don't know if you want. Well, you shared it before. So for the people, because we got 218 people listening that may not know Trucker Yale's story, because you got a pretty interesting one, bro. And I told the story about my homie and the way he worked and the hours he worked to pay back. He was paying back child support. That's why he took that job. So, man, did not sleep. I honestly don't know how he did it.
I couldn't sleep.
I was also.
Dude, I was losing hair. I was so stressed out, dog. Like, I had to literally move to another state for like a year because I knew that if I stayed there any longer, that I was going to end up doing something stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I knew. Like, I just knew I had to go. I had to. So we left for a year. We moved to Charlotte, and what's that joint? I forgot what part of town it is. We left for Charlotte. Then, like, maybe about a year and a half later, me and my daughter started kind of reconnecting again. And so we moved back up. But as soon as I moved back up, it wasn't even like a month later, I started going through the same shit again.
Mm.
Literally. So, and the fucked up part is like women don't even understand. Like, yo, we don't forget about the fucking like we could never ever forget or forgive the pain that you caused. You know what I'm saying? Because like for me, I was making my wife suffer and my kids based off this one woman.
Let me
Like I
get your
wasn't giving them, but
let me get your opinion on this from One True Diva. For every guy that takes care of his kids, there are 5 that don't. What do you think that she means by that?
I think she's talking about another woman. I told you before, most of these females that say stupid shit like that is always talking about another woman. It's just a cover up. All the shit they say about how men ain't the father, men ain't fathers, and this, that, and third. No, it's most of these women that ain't mothers, that ain't fucking parents. Because like I know, that when they cut this shit off, okay, once they cut this shit off, and y'all don't have no safety net, a lot of you motherfuckers is gonna be bums. Y'all not parents. And even when you got this money and y'all could do better, y'all don't. Y'all take that child support and take care of your bills and your rent. And when that child get old enough to go to college, that's like 200,000 right there that you could have put up for that child, or at least 100,000, but you didn't. So now he out here scavenging. He can't afford to go to college. That's all due to you. You expect the father to pay for that too.
Mm.
So I don't want to hear that. Like I think it's like I said before. I think it's one too many. Like it shouldn't be like that on both sides at all. For real. And the camera is exposing everything these women say. You cannot keep on denying the fact that what are you seeing on social media constantly? Normally, all my life I used to hear that um, men wasn't this, that, and the third, and somebody caught something on camera. No, what you're really seeing is a lot of shit that women are doing, leaving their kids at home for 2 months straight, abandoning their kids, going to the club for a week, going to the All-Star game when they got All-Star weekend when they got fucking husbands, and abandoning their kids. It's evident more and more. Y'all can't hide this shit no more. That's why these dudes is literally leaving the country just to go find a fucking wife.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts a little bit. I think I asked you the first question. Let me put that up till we get more panelists. So let me ask you another question, Trucker Yale. Would a cancellation of child support lead to more fathers having custody of their kids? What do you think?
Yes, I think
Expound
so.
on that.
Because women say they really can't afford to really do this on their own. They don't want to even sacrifice. They think 40 hours, they barely working 40 hours a week to be all the way 100. If they work more than that, it's going to be a job that's making $15, $20 an hour. So you're not really bringing nothing home.
That's one type of woman for sure. That's one type of woman for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yep, that's one type. The part that sickens me, I think, is that I wouldn't have known this. I wouldn't have known this up front, but the part that I heard where there was a woman going around saying, if you don't get enough child support or public assistance, just have another baby by a different man. And I wouldn't have known this was a problem or a tactic till I saw that. Now, it's very hard to offend me or disgust me because I've seen a lot, like most people in this country have. But that disgusted me. As if children aren't meant to have decent lives. as if they weren't meant to grow up with two parents, at least, as if it's not beneficial for them to grow up in a community. I don't know. I don't understand why we have so many women and even some men that don't understand this. Babies are not checks. They're human beings. What do y'all think?
Are you talking about the video where the mother was basically calculating her 6 baby mamas?
Yeah, I thought that too.
Is that what you're talking about, Trigger Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, that shit was. I was sitting there disturbed, but you know what? You know what was more disturbing to me was that there were more. It was, instead of women saying this is wrong, there was more women saying, "How you do that? How do I do that?" That was the part that was more disturbing to me. And just like Angry Man said before, the dude with the 7 baby mamas, he got more pushback or whatever it was, but they didn't give no energy to that specific video that we're talking about right now. For this woman to brag about how many baby daddies she got, how much she getting paid by each child's father, like each baby daddy.
Yeah, that was an incredible video, and I think the most disturbing stuff is how women react to it. But then again, you always have to remember we're in this echo chamber where the people who actually post are the people in the game, right? You know, there's a lot of women out there who probably didn't even see that and would never respond that way, but they're not on the internet, not like this. So everybody in this whole argument that we have about things, it seems that the majority of people who post are the most negative folks. I mean, even in the manosphere, just to digress for a second, there was a point where almost every man in the manosphere was stuck in red pill rage. It's starting to go away. And we're changing the narrative to something more positive in terms of correcting things. So it's an evolutionary. And that evolution hasn't really happened with women online. The most ratchet shit that women do, they get more cosign than the opposite. We can still count on maybe 2 hands the women who are against that stuff in this space. You know, and that's some of the content creators, right? But for the most part, when you look at the comments, you know, the women are for a lot of debaucherous kind of things, you know. But just get back on the topic in terms of child support and me being married for so long. And a lot of people don't realize this. In my marriage, I consciously understood that my wife is at an advantage over me, especially when I asked her to quit her job and stay home. Right. So I always made sure that any disagreements we had only went so far and no further. And luckily for me, she was an agreeable woman to begin with.
Salute to
You know
her.
what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Because you could take shit too far. Because if my wife ever wanted to leave me, especially when the kids were born, I would be on the street right now, man, with signs and shit, man. You know, I probably would have to reinvent myself like Trucker Yale did, you know, because she would have taken everything. Because I didn't have a prenup. I was working and she wasn't. And I could just see her going to court with her light-skinned self with bows and shit in her hair, saying he did this and he did that.
You don't even understand, dude. Like I slept, like when we first separated, I thought we was gonna be cordial, right? You know, cordial and everything. And it all started when I didn't want to cut the grass. I gave you a fucking house. You feel me? I gave you a house, a rebuilt house. Okay? I gave you a house to make sure that my kid don't have to sleep outside in the cold. I don't mind sleeping out on the street. I'm cool with that. But because I didn't want to cut your grass that you own now, it all started from that.
Wow.
And it just spiraled down. It got worse and worse. Then the dude moved in like 2 weeks later. He got 7 kids. So I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, okay. Then my dad hit me up, oh, you see that she's engaged? I was like, I don't get two fucks, man. I'm trying to make sure that my daughter good. I don't care. And then it just got worse, man. Like every time I try to do something for my daughter, it was oh, we're going out this weekend. You know, going out. Or we doing this weekend. Or I tell her, hell, there was one incident that my job paid for an event. Zubizi Bay, if you know what that in Columbus, Ohio, they literally bought the park. Okay, it's a giant water park and a zoo combined together, and they paid for everybody's tickets, kids, everything, hotel, the whole 9 year. All you got to do is show up, so you won't get fined. Okay, if you don't show up, they gonna take it out of your check.
Oh.
Told her 2 months in advance. You know what I'm saying? Told her a month in advance. A week and Monday. Shit was going on Friday. I goes get all this swimming shit. You know what I'm saying? And Friday comes. I wake up early in the morning, getting ready to go pick them up. Call her, like, hey, I'll be there in about 30 minutes. She tells me, oh, we left out of town. Nick, when I tell you, my ex-girlfriend at the time, she had to fucking literally fucking throw my keys somewhere where I couldn't find them because I was getting ready to go to fuck up. I'm about to go off. I did not care, man.
Why? So this is the part that I don't even
There's
understand.
so many horror stories out there.
Not only is it so, this is something where I appreciate extremely. I don't even know the word. Is it sensible? Women that have a good head on their shoulders to even know their own tendencies to the point where when people say that, you know, you remember how what's his name, Shui, was saying on Friday that women were oppressed and women had to be under men and men oppressed them, and this is kind of that in that same soup where women who don't leave their husband, a lot of them stay in a relationship because they understand who they are outside of their man. I need him here to, like you say, Mr. Rich, to put order to the chaos, because the way women play games, I don't want to play games with him like that. I don't want to become that person because I can be vindictive. I can be this person, but under the leadership of my man, I'm not that person. I love sensible women who know that and will say, I never want to raise children without their father because of the way I or other women can be. This is actually evident when you see women interact with each other. It's like, why do you ever expect us to have confidence in your leadership in anything when we watch the way y'all treat each other? Forget us. Take us out. Y'all are extremely vindictive, stabbing each other behind the back, talking shit about each other behind the back as soon as you get off the phone. Like, why would we think this inspires confidence that we would want you to lead our family, much less the children, in a certain way without us? Because that's crazy to me. I've heard that story so many times. I remember that video that went viral on Instagram of the mom wanting to put the baby in the dude's car seat and then try to cancel visitation. I was like, give him the baby. Let him put the baby in the car seat. Talk about, I need to put it. He's like, look, I don't trust you. You trying to set me up. You trying to drop a dime bag back there or something.
Oh, no, she was definitely trying to see who was in that car. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. She was trying to see, because I've had that incident happen before too. I've had that happen before. I mean, like, dude, yeah, trigger night. 7 years, 100,000, and three mediations is no joke. No joke. No joke. I mean,
the system is just so broken, man. And it's you know, I mean, everybody has a story, whether it happened to you, you know somebody it happened to, right? I have a buddy, his wife was cheating on him. he found out he still had to pay child. Lucky for him, the divorce took so long that his kid aged out of child support, but he still has to pay his wife alimony.
Damn.
And that's the no fault divorce thing. She's stroking another dude, and he got to pay. Which is it's incredibly. I mean, some things about the system are so bad that doesn't make sense. For example, the jail part of it, and a lot of people don't make those connections. Once you're in the system, even if it's a child support system, you flip that coin over, it's the penal system.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of, not only the loophole in the 13th Amendment, but there's all kinds of reasons for them to want you to get into the penal system, because nobody talks about this. Just countless amount of judges who will give you extra time so they can get more kickbacks from the private prisons,
yep,
or private jails, or whatever it is. They say you don't go to prison when you go, they put you in some kind of jail. But to me, that's a distinction without a difference. Okay. And then make this make sense. You can have fines up to a year or more, depending if it's a misdemeanor, felony, or a felony. And no matter what, they gotta feed you 3 hots and a cot. I mean, it costs like $40,000 to $50,000 or more to house each prisoner. So how is that more beneficial to the taxpayer than them just chasing you around? You know what I'm saying? Just got to be a different kind of system. All right, so all of a sudden you don't pay your child support. Not only can't you give money to your kids while you're in jail, you're racking up this debt, and the taxpayers are paying $40,000 to $50,000 for you to be in jail. That shit's crazy. It doesn't make any economic sense.
Listen, this type of thing. So I'm not sure. I'm not going to talk about. I don't know the amount of people that go to jail behind child support.
Enough do.
Enough do, and not. But here's the thing: when me and my wife went to Italy for our honeymoon, So one of the things I don't like, I'm not like a girl, right? I don't go to these places and take pictures and shit. I want to go be that's what they do. They just want to take pictures so they look like they be jet setting everywhere. I want to go immerse myself in these people's culture. I want to enjoy the food the way they do it. I want to eat some of the stuff that stinks that I'm not even supposed to like. Right? I ate this pasta that was melted anchovies, olive oil, and butter.
Ooh.
Shit was I'd have never in my life. You said the word anchovies, I'd have been like, no, thank you. But they melted down into a sauce. Bomb when I tell you, right? So I love going immersing myself in other people's culture. And one of the things we found out on by the tour guide, she had said something, and I'm like, oh no, you going to jail for that. And she just kind of looked. But it's almost as if she spoke, because she looked, she kind of frowned and then said, oh, he's an American, in her head. That's the look she gave. Then I said, well, because it made me ask the question, they won't go to jail for that? And then she kind of took a deep sigh and she said, in her little Italian voice, it's very hard to go to jail here. And then she kind of went on her soapbox to basically tell me why people don't go to jail, but she was actually telling me what's wrong with America. She said, why would you take a working citizen out of your economy to then go put them in jail where other citizens have to pay for them to be there? Like,
it don't make no sense.
It makes no sense. And now I think you're seeing this because we're going into a deficit. We have the most jailed, I think, of every single country combined. We have that. That's how large our prison population is. All of these people, when you see it, these are men. 90-some% of them are men. These are infrastructure builders, carpenters, anybody that can be doing anything else except sitting there in jail, getting 3 hots in a cot. So I knew at some point it was going to hit a fever pitch, and I got a question coming up where we can discuss this. But let me say what's up to King Spark. What's going on, dog?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all today?
All right.
Well, we good. What you got on the topic so far, bro?
Man, y'all tormenting me with this damn topic, man. Y'all talking about these damn horrible ass baby mamas and shit. It's bringing back and pulling up all kinds of scab wounds and stuff. But I would tell you this. I'll tell you something that Brother Payne said that was even worse for me was that You know, I was in trouble one time and I'm locked up, and my baby mother go down there to get a child support order on me because I'm locked up, and they actually granted the shit, right? But y'all know I'm in jail. So y'all grant the child support order and y'all start this clock. I come home 13 months later and I'm $10,000 in debt.
How does that make sense?
I just
So
was like, what?
You want to know the worst part about it? You want to know the worst part about it is that you would think that they knew you were in jail. The one
No, they
gripe I have
knew.
with our government, the one gripe I have, especially state government, even federal, but state, we would assume all of these entities talk to each other.
Oh,
They do not. I mean, even in the same building, these systems, they're all using different systems. They all got your social, but no, none of them cross-reference with each other. I hate state government for that. I learned this in like the military and doing jobs in education and in health administration. None of these systems talk. So the
no.
person that ends up paying the price is the citizen, because even if you have to clear a record off your name, you got to pay money. It's their mistake, but you
But
got to pay
Mike,
money.
check this out. This is the worst part of it. And it was, I guess it wasn't like that for me. So I'm in there doing my time, getting down to the end of my time. I've been saving up my little $25 checks. My little jump off's been sending me, to hold me down and whatnot. I had got up to $798 while child support take $560 off my books. Took it off of my books. They
While you
took
were in the being, damn.
while I'm in the joint. They took, and they know how it got there because Kim sent it to me and Carmen sent it to me. And you feel what I'm saying? Like they see how I'm amassing the money, and they sit there, lay and wait until it gets substantial enough and snatch that joint from me because you got a $10,000 bill. And so it's like it's made to keep your ass down, because then when you come home, it's like, well, damn, what do I do? Whatever move they got, they already standing there with their hand out. It puts you in a real disadvantage, man. That's why I'd be happy I made it through all that shit and came up and moved and did what I had to do to give myself a fucking foothold, because I'm gonna tell you that system is a bad motherfucker. And they want it. They want to do everything they can possibly do to keep you in a fucked up situation. Believe that.
You know what, King? You know what's crazy? Let me tell you about this. So when I first got put on child support, right? I'm thinking this is where I knew the system was fucked up. So I bring in all the receipts, all the shit, right? I mean, shoebox full of receipts, all the shit of what I buy, how much gas, I mean, everything. And
They told you it was gifts.
that she already had one kid. So the dude went to jail, right? So when they asked her, she asked for a reduction because he went to jail. He was going to prison or some shit, right? And I was sitting there like, what? Hold on. This nigga ain't done nothing for this child, and you asking for a reduction with this nigga. But you sitting there smiling, smirking about how much I gotta pay for child support. And they basically told me that everything I bought and all this other shit was just gifts.
Yeah.
It fucking blew my mind, nigga.
It's gifts.
It blew my fucking mind. I was like, this was, I knew shit was real. Like, it got real right there. Just remember, I could still remember that smirk on her face.
See,
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
No, so you're not finished. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
It's just wild, dude. Like, I don't understand what, you got to be a sick individual to get pleasure out of doing this shit. That's how I look at this. Like, you really have to be a sick person. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun. And you,
Kind
if
of breaking up
boy,
there, trucker.
trying to get us. You hear me?
I think you're breaking up.
Trucker, you
You're
going out?
breaking up. You're moving a lot. So
Yeah, your mic is going out. John the Baptist, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's going
I'm
on?
kind of I'm kind of late to the panel. I'm not sure the full discussion, but I kind of heard what you guys talk about the last couple of minutes, and I wanted to add my thoughts to the conversation thus far in the subject matter because I do have some thoughts on the subject matter. I'm sympathetic to men who are on child support, but I also don't offer excuses for men who are on child support. I understand the system that we're fighting against when it comes to men when they have kids with women, and the system is not favorable. But one of the things I've learned as I've gotten older, and I know most men, they have kids when they're younger. Most talking to the men who are older still keep falling for this system. At some point, we have to stop moving from a position of weakness and move to a position of strength. Meaning, you got to inform yourself of the system and the things the rules that you move in, and stop allowing the system to use you and to manipulate you through the efforts of feminism, racism, sexism, all this other crap that they use to entrap us. And I'm speaking to older men. I'm not speaking to young men who made decisions when they were young and they messed up. Most of us are young, we make mistakes. I get it. But at some point, you should put away childish things and become a man. Childish way of thinking, childish way of moving, and understand that the system is designed and is planning to attack you. And they will use women, kids, police officers, anything they can to put you in a position of weakness. American men are American black men. Black men. I'm not talking about young black boys. Young black boys are gonna make decisions. But we should be, as American black men, able to teach these young black boys what the system is doing and prevent them from making the same mistake that was done to some of us in our generation. That's to my 2 cents, and I'll land my plane.
And let me add to that, Mike.
I agree with
agree
that.
with you 100%. And I was going to say that before you came on, John the Baptist. If there's anything the manosphere can do for black men, and especially the black boys before they make the mistake, is emphasize the way the system is now is completely destructive to your future. And that's where you could tie that to discipline. You could tie that to whether the woman lets you or not. You have to think that once you release or shoot up the club, your life is completely in this woman's hands for at least 21 years. You know, and well, 18 years, but in some places it's 21, or to when the kid finishes college. We don't talk about that enough. As men who've been through it, or men who understands, we should help the youth not go through it, especially men, because they're not going to learn that from their mothers. They're not going to learn that from their mothers. And especially the way the field is now, where we have a whole bunch of feral cats out there willing to give up all the Pandora for almost nothing. So the fact is, if we could, for me, the best thing we could do is educate this manosphere, the sphere of influence that we have over our cousins, younger cousins, and family members. Listen, if you have a baby with this woman, if you're not married to her, and even if you are, but let's just say you're not, because most people aren't, you know, you're putting yourself at an extreme risk. I mean, all of us have examples of that. It didn't happen to me, but I have more than a few examples of losing your leverage in life because you wanted 5 minutes of pleasure. If nobody tells them, how they gonna know that?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do. I have conversations with young dudes all the time about it, so they won't have to go through what I went through. Because I don't think my worst enemy should go through shit I went through. Real talk. So I do speak something about it. I just wish that I had somebody to tell me. Like, people don't realize, like, I've never really heard a man explain, like, yo, choosing the right woman is so important. Like, I didn't learn that until after, you know? So I wish more men would explain that. Like, it's very important who you choose wisely. Hands down.
So I want to add to this. So it's kind of what the trucker Yale was saying too. And not just specifically aimed at trucker Yale, just the men in general, in society in general. Um, we as Black American men, we're doing our kids a disservice with this mentality. When we say that we want to raise our kids up to avoid everything that we went through, be careful how you say that. And I know what we mean when we say it, because a lot of us grew up in extreme poverty and we went without a lot of stuff. But if you think about the extreme poverty that I went through as a child, opened my eyes to a whole lot of things that I learned at a very early age. Now that I'm doing better off than anybody in my family's ever done financially, and I'm not trying to say I'm some millionaire now, like that's not even the picture I'm trying to paint either. But I'm a lot better off than anybody's in the past generation has been. I don't give my kids the benefit. When my kids were growing up, they had no idea what kind of money we made. And we didn't buy them Jordans. We didn't buy them the $200 pair of shoes. When we went to the store to go shopping for shoes, we brought the $50 pair of Reeboks and Nikes. If you wanted something more, you had to get a job and go work for it. What I provided you with the basic necessities of life. And why did I do that? Because especially my son, I wanted my son to develop the work ethic and to understand what it costs, how that money is earned to go buy those Jordans. I could have brought my son 10 pair of Jordans every year. But what does that teach him about being a man? And the reason why I say, and I'm gonna make this relate. When you make your kid learn, what we don't want to do is make our kids dependent upon us. We want to teach our kids to be independent and be able to thrive on their own and not to rely on me or their mom. So therefore, now that they learn this system at a very young age, when they leave my house and go out into the world, they're a lot more wiser to the systems that are at play that's trying to take their money, because they've been involved in the workplace, and they also had guidance from me and their mom to tell them how to handle the difficult situations, whether it be school, whether it be work, whether it be friends, whether it be life. You've always had your parents there to educate you, but not to spoil you with material things. We need to teach our kids to learn how to look at the world as the world is, and not this rose-painted glasses that we often present. And they wouldn't fall for these traps, such as child support, like many of us do, or with drugs that many of us fall into, or alcohol that many of us fall into. We will see these systems, how they're designed to keep us in poverty and for building wealth.
All right, Rilla, if you can come cam up and just give me a 3 so I know it's you real quick, and then I'll let you up. All right, so I got all I see is your fingers though. That dude was like,
Trigger, I promise it's me, man. I ain't gonna get y'all taken down, man. I ain't gonna,
nah, no
I ain't gonna
worries,
bomb
bro.
you, man.
I know it's you. I know it's you.
Chicago, really? What's cracking?
What you got on the topic, bro?
Man, peace to the chat. Peace to the family. Y'all know this parents comparing the minds that we get on this topic, man. So I think one important thing is that we're having the conversation. And I also know this is going to be productive because that's what Trigger might do. I think it's also important to note that I echo what one of the brothers said in terms of, you know, how important it is to select the right person, right? And for me, you know, I heard one brother sharing a story, and I would say this. Like I said, I was married to the mother of my children for 10 years. I got on child support before I was put on child support, before I was even out the house, before any divorce papers were signed. So when we talk about going up against the system, hear me what I'm saying. We talk about going up against the system. That's not a manufactured thought. That's real. The system, I know in Georgia and most southern states, I know for a fact Georgia is a woman and child state. And when I lived there, that everything favors the woman first and then the child. So there is a real system in place that puts me in a disadvantage. And I agree, we don't make excuses. You know, again, you talk about the selection process. I mean, the woman that I married, when I decided to get a second job for additional income, this joker went and told child support. So he bartended on the side. You know, bartending, you just getting cash. So they couldn't prove one way or the other what I was doing. But I was like, fam, what are you doing? You're getting the money that you asked these people to give you. Now you want more because I'm getting a side hustle, trying to get more, which is what we try and do anyways, get more money. So we got to continue to educate these young bloods. We got to continue to have these conversations because these are the meaningful conversations. I think that brings about growth and productivity. But yeah, that system is rigged. I think more states are waking up. They just got it to the point where not too long ago, they started including the mother's income when they figure out, you know, what the amount is going to be. They figure her into that. But also just keep in mind, majority of the cases for child support are a result of divorce. It's not just the women going down there and putting their baby daddy on child support. If they file for any type of TANF, if they file for any type of assistance, that's going to trigger child support. But majority of those cases come from divorce, and I'll pipe down.
Hey man, that's a very good point. So it's not just Pookie and Ray Ray's problem. In fact, it's not even primarily their problem. It is a product of divorce. And one of the things, if we're even going to talk about people that weren't married, we always got to understand that this is a twofold conversation at least. The reason being is because when we look at, let's say, the Black community as an example, how many people have already made the mistake? We can't leave them out of the conversation because the children still have to be raised. So I don't want to leave them out of the conversation. Yes, we have a twofold conversation where while we're having this conversation, we tell everybody behind us that hasn't made the mistake yet, protect your seed, young blood. It's real out here for these dudes. But we also got to jump to the other side and say, now that you have a child, we have to reconcile something to where they don't suffer as a result to the actions of their mother, or you make sure you maintain a relationship with her. In fact, let her know it's better off if the kids are with you. If she give them to you, you don't got to pay child support. Exhaust all options. So that what we're really saying is we're glad that the state is somehow giving some relief, maybe take a few toes, if not the whole foot, off of a man's neck so he can start to participate in his children's life the right way. But this goes into the next question, and I'm going to start with John the Baptist because I think he want to talk first. Let me get this question out. All right. Will men end up doing more or less for the child if they don't have to pay child support? Give me 1 second. Let me read the super chats. I forgot about those. Appreciate those every day. Mr. Clement Gray, $5. What happened last night should not have happened, but it did. But they want the truth. They don't want the truth out. Keep bringing out the truth on these people. It's a war. What happened yesterday or last night? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Clement Gray, tell us what you're talking about in the chat. My man, Real Bravado Network, $50. We appreciate the support, bro. Child support was a benefit given to housewives whose husbands left. Yeah, that is a fact. White husbands. Why are we giving wife status to baby mamas? Baby mamas don't deserve a check for their choice that is out of order decision. I actually agree with that. If you want to put pressure on people to stop putting pressure on the government and entitlements, only give entitlements to people who take state-sanctioned vows. That if you want state benefits, do what the state require. Get married. All right, James Sharp, $5. The courts give custody to moms because their kids feed the prison system. Follow the money. Most bodies in prison come from single moms. It is a big business. That is a fact. Researchable. Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports, $2. Keep hope alive. We appreciate all the supports. For those of you just tuning in, we got 300 people watching the Trigger Mike show and only 156 likes. I need y'all to hit that like button. Show your support to the Trigger Mike show on the Lapeef Network. We appreciate everybody and all of their support. Keep sending those super chats as answers to these questions, because our next question, I'm going to restate it. John the Baptist, we're going to start with you. Will men end up doing more or less for the child if they don't have to pay child support. It's on you.
So I'm gonna answer 2 questions. I want to actually address what Chicago Gorilla said. Then I'm gonna answer your question if you don't
Yep.
mind.
That's cool.
To Chicago Gorilla and in the statement that he presented, I actually agree, 100% agree with what he's saying. Sometimes it does happen a lot to married men. And OG Speed, I haven't heard from him in a while, but OG Speed was on the panel where they talking about this, how he's put so much effort to teaching young men how to handle that situation, like when they're going through a divorce or having kids, how to win in court on child support issues, how to make the odds more favorable towards men. And so basically what we're saying is OG Speed put out some information. One of the vets in life who knows has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. When we hear old men or men with seasoned with veteran, men who are seasoned and veteran in life and experience, we need to listen to these men because they're giving you valuable nuggets on how to win in life. So we can't overlook men like OG Speed, who's been in the game of life for a long time and dropping Jews. And I ain't seen him on the panels a while, so let's shout out to him. To your question, would men do more if they were out on child support? If they are
African, let me
responsible,
get a 3. Go ahead. Let me get a 3.
If there are men, if they are, I want to say, I'm not even gonna say it that way. It depends on the level of the mentality of the man. I think most men that I've met in my life, most men are responsible men who take care of their kids. I've seen way more good men who don't need the court to make them do anything with their child. So my answer to that question is a direct. I think men would do more if they were out on child support. If child support makes a man pay 30% or 50%, whatever it is, I don't know the numbers. I've never dealt with it. If they make him pay 50%, I think a man would pay 60, 70% because ultimately men care about their seeds. They will break their back for their kids.
Yep.
Men would pay 100% for their kids because they would take on the responsibility of raising their kids and keep the court out of it together. And most men would even put the mother of the child on child support. They would take 100% of the accountability, financial responsibility.
Most men don't ask for child support when they have custody of their children. So you 100% spot on.
I had a brother-in-law.
Everybody in the back. I'm sorry. Everybody in the back, put up a thumbs up so I know it's you. There you go.
And I'll land my plane on this.
D-Town, let me get a thumbs up. D-Town, I see you back there.
I'll let my plane on this because I know everybody trying to get in. I had a brother-in-law. I had several family members of mine who I personally seen this with my own eyes. These men were paying child support for years while the kid was living with them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
While multiple kids were living with them.
Oh my goodness, man! I mean, that's just robbery. I would not have believed you, John the Baptist, until one of my closest friends that I saw at homecoming, his son is my godson, told me, hey bro, I'm trying to get custody of the boy. He's cutting up in school. I got my duty station changed so I could be close to him. Now I'm asking for the boy. He needs to live with me. And she said, I just had another baby, so you can have him if I get to keep the child support. Dog. I mean,
Trigger Mike, they make shows about this. They make money off of this. And man, listen, it's a lot.
Did he agree, Trigger Mike? Did he agree?
I got to hit him back. No, he doesn't have custody of the boy yet. He doesn't have custody of the boy yet. So I would say he didn't agree. What I do know is that he picks him up. So he basically stays with him and then he stays all day and then goes sleeps at his mom's house. Because, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I told him, don't let her play you like that. Don't let her play you like that. I said, make adjustments. But for some reason, I just feel like if you acquiesce to a woman, you'll always be doing so.
Only for 18 years. It's an investment. You got to do a cost analysis.
Man,
I mean, I hear the pride thing.
Yeah.
But having your son and raising him right, is it worth $400 extra a month or not? I mean, that's
well, no, he's an officer. He makes officer.
No, I'm talking about the child support payment.
In the military, yeah, he is way more than $400 a month.
But we're
but
His
I'm
is,
no
his
no
is
no
in the
no no no.
are we
thousands.
I'm
are
His
talking
we
is in
about
the
the
talking
child
thousands.
about
support
are we
payment,
talking
Mike.
about the average
But
person? Are
but you
we just
gotta
talking about
understand, you can't let nobody play
um
you like that, bro. Shit,
No no
why
no
she
no.
just
I
won't
hear
give the
you, but
baby up, man? They
but
don't need
I
nothing.
hear that
No,
in
no. So you
general.
know what? You
But
know
you
what?
know what? Wait, can I finish?
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
saying is I'm not arguing with you. All I'm just trying to say is that everything's a trade-off in life.
Yeah.
Is your son's life with you worth the extra money? That's the only analysis you got to come up with. Forget about the game the chick is playing.
Yeah. No. You're right. What I'm saying is you're right, but it's also a battle fought on two fronts. So basically what he did was increase his involvement in the day-to-day of the kid and say, I'm picking him up from school. He's literally going to spend all day with me to do his homework and all of his duties. So he basically canceled his, I guess, nightlife and dating life to spend all day with his son. The mother, he lives down the street from the mother. Take her back to her house to sleep. I mean, yeah,
trigger
he
Mike?
sleeps there. His
Is
clothes are
that
housed there. Go
is
ahead.
that the exception or is that the rule when it comes to men with child support? Because I have some statistics pulled up. Because I
Please
think
let.
okay.
Yeah, share them. Share them.
So, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, they released a report titled Custodial Mother and Fathers and Their Child Support. And it's based on data from the most recent Census Bureau figures. And it attempts to create an accurate snapshot of how many single parents have a child support order, how much money is actually received, and how much money is owed. So, typically, it was re released in January 2020, and there are 13.6 million custodial single parents living in the US. About 12% have an informal support agreement. 87.9 are formal agreements established in the court or through mediation. Uh, and then half of them have some type of legal or informal support agreement in place. And then fewer than 21% of custodial parents request government assistance collecting child support. So either you and that person come up with an agreement through mediation or they go through the court system. That's typically what um, the census report is saying. But typically, the average amount of support due was $5,760 per year.
That's
And
about 400 something dollars. It's like
yeah,
470.
less than
Yeah. So
500 a
yeah, I've
month.
seen that stat before.
Yeah.
No,
And then
his
only 60% of that money is actually received. So
yeah.
I'm not saying that the experiences that you and the people that you know are not correct. But what I'm also saying, and to Mr. Payne's point, is that excuse me, and a very important point that I don't think a lot of people make, the average salary of people who are on child support are around $42,000,
Mhm.
and then the average age is people under 40 that typically get put on child support. So it is a system involved that mainly affects people who are middle or average income earners and who are considerably younger, like in your 20s to 30s and the 40s and upwards. On average, that's not an issue. So I think a couple things to consider, particularly when we have this discussion of child support,
Oh,
is I don't think some people in general understand how much it costs to raise a child. I'm not saying that women do not have their issues, play games, because of course they do. But if you're thinking of taking care of a child, I don't think a lot of men want to be the primary custodial parent. If you just want to be real, and even if they do, they didn't realize
I
it
disagree
is
with
more
that
expensive.
100%.
Yeah,
Coco,
I want to push
what
back
I'll
on that
say
too.
is, so that's the coalition we are a part of here. I don't care what the men want. I'm going to force their child on them anyway. And this is actually I heard one person say this. As women, we understand. I'm sorry, like to the women, we understand the cost, the associated cost of raising a child, especially if you are a father. Remember, it's mostly divorced people that end up on child support.
Well,
So
that's incorrect as well because
what is it?
there's only yes because well
Because
I'm
nobody's
speaking
getting married.
specifically for thank you, Mr. Payne. That's the main reason. Only 30 Currently, let me go to Black's
Wait, in black?
demographic.
Wait, I'm
Yeah,
talking about general, everyone in
And
the
black,
U.S.
you're,
no,
you're
black people ain't getting married, Trigger Mike. So most people on child support are not married.
In the
for
black
black for in
community,
the
I'm
black in the
talking
black
about.
community. That
Yeah, I'm
is
talking about the
correct.
U.S. I'm talking about U.S. in general.
Well, in the U.S., hold on,
It's
let me
over
look at.
50%.
It is on average. Y'all continue, and I'll pull up.
Yeah, but
So
Trigger Mike,
so
can I
what
what?
I'm
say
saying
something?
is,
So
Trigger Mike, can I say
hold
something,
on real
please?
quick. Hold on real quick. What I'm saying is that whether a father wants to take the primary custody of his kids, he should have them. And the better point to make is if a woman can do it, we can do it. If
Man,
the child is not an infant, like I'm sorry, I know, like not you, Coco, but a lot of women think they're hot shit when it comes to raising these kids, and the statistics show that fathers will
they're
do a
not.
better job. We will just figure it out. If you can do it, not you, Coco, but if a woman can do it, we can do it. It's that if she's figuring it out, and women tend to make less, that's a stat too. Women tend to make less. Fathers will be able to do it. In fact, the primary thing to remember is that fathers have a greater chance of creating circumstances that are better for the child. We have an increased chance of getting remarried and finding a woman to help us with the child. Mothers do not. We will strive and establish stable relation, like a more stable relationship situation, right? With all of that, where we make more money, we'll live in better school district, all that type of stuff. So if a woman can do it, I absolutely believe we have.
And we have less where the woman is molesting the kid because we'll protect the kid better than a woman would bringing a random man in the crib too. So that's another thing. So
We
the
definitely.
point is, men are problem solvers. We get a kid, and even if we don't have the money, we find a way, and we'll find a way much better than a woman ever will. Right? And all I'm just trying to say is the deck is stacked, no matter what everybody says, against the man. And the state does that on purpose because they take a piece of the man's child support and they could put him in jail. And if he's black, nobody gives a shit. And the fact is, it's just the system is just broken. We can talk about all this other horse shit. The system is just broken. Child support is necessary if you make a baby. Everybody could concede that. But if I was able to pay my money and I know directly that 90% of the dollars went to my kid, we wouldn't have any deadbeat dads who love their children. Because the worst thing you can do is give your money to a woman who can't stand you. Somebody else is plowing the field and you're giving her the money and you know only a percentage is going to the kid. So if I was able to pay for my kid directly in some kind of debit card or some kind of thing that you could trace, I bet you more money would more money from a man who's estranged from a woman would go to those kids if he could control how the money is being spent. Sneakers, school, and anything you could think of, food, all that kind of shit. That whole skit about the baby mama said, well, you only bring McDonald's to the one kid. I got 18 other kids. How come you didn't bring all of the money? You know, so the fact is, if you can control how the money is meted out to the kid, I can almost guarantee you most men, well, I shouldn't guarantee anything. I would say the percentage of men paying for their kids will go up exponentially if you can control
which
that.
percentage? I would like to ask the
Well,
everyone
okay,
in.
one of the biggest issues, Coco,
We arguing
is,
a false point, but go ahead.
well, you can correct me later on. One
No,
of
No,
the
no, no,
biggest
no.
issues.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying we got drove into an issue that's a false point. But I let you rock it out what you're saying though.
No, you okay? So just mentally thinking that it just kind of makes sense to me, and I don't have to go through it. If I can control, if I had kids out of wedlock, if I can control how the money's being spent on them, I'd be more willing to put the money in it. If I have to put the money in the hands of a woman I'm arguing with every single day, just human nature makes that conflict a difficult situation.
I completely agree, Mr. Payne. But and I know it's hard to separate emotion involved when it comes to your children and the feelings when it comes to child support. But I do want to ask everyone because I am curious. I don't know all the answers. Particularly for the child range 0 to 5. There's a certain time I believe that the child should be with the mother.
Yep.
5 to
I
10
agree
or
with that.
11, it could be the mother or father. 11 and upwards could be with the father. But
Yeah.
the most expensive that children tend to be, particularly because if the child is with you, then you'd have to pay for daycare or have someone be with the child. So and so my question to everyone is, from the men that you know, how many of the men that have children would prefer, and we can starting from 0 to 5 to, or from the 5 to 11 preteen, and then from teenage years, would want to be the primary custodial parent?
Let me
I
go
would
first.
say a
So,
Let me
lot.
go
I
first.
so,
would,
Let me go first. We
let
go
me
around
go
the
right
horn. That's
after
a good
you. Let
question.
me
so,
go right
so,
after
Let me
you.
go
Let
real
me go
first.
right
I'm gonna
after
just
you.
say real
listen,
quick.
hold on, y'all. Hold on, hold on.
Right now.
I'll start and we'll go around. And in fact, I'll table the question at the bottom. We'll answer this question first, then come back to the one.
That's
So,
a great
after,
question, by the way.
it's a great question. After infancy, a father, statistically, if you look at the behavior patterns, the increase in chance that a child will end up with ADHD, getting trouble in school, hitting other children, biting other children, all of that without father presence. So after infancy, a father is more important to a child's development,
What age would
not
you
not just
say?
his nurturing, but his overall behavioral development. So
What
I
age would you
believe, and
say?
remember, I said it don't matter what the men want. Force it on them. It don't matter.
Okay.
You got a roof over your head, and when we talk about daycare, men make more money than women do. So men make more money than women do. The person who makes more money will be better equipped to find care for the child or pay for it. That's my take on it. Anybody
So,
else want
so
to?
starting like 2 and older
So
is what you would
I
I'm gonna
would
say?
say
jump in. I'm gonna
two,
jump
two
in.
Nah.
and
I'm gonna
older.
jump in.
I mean, look, Coco, if we really being serious, how
Gotta go
many
around the
women do you
horn.
know breastfeed?
Okay, you did. They did say
If we really being serious, these are formula ass babies out here. These are formula babies. I'll take them
Let's
from
Mike. Let's
jump.
just keep it. Let's keep it natural, right? I mean, I don't know if you finished, but let me just go real quick. I say whatever the average nipple time is what I'd give to the woman. If it's that 3 or 4 years while the kid got to suck on a nipple, okay, you got it. But when the kids start to have some kind of discernment, and I don't want to say especially boys, because we found out that girls need fathers as much as boys do. All right,
Maybe even more.
and maybe even more. So there's a certain point where I think that if a man is willing, if the system is put right, I think if a man has a stable home and a stable thing, and he should take definitely he should take custody because the money will flow better. Now, here's what I would concede. A lot of women don't want to give up their kids, even if they're not the best parent, because they like that extra couple of dollars. It's just you can't lie about that. I'd be willing to say, listen, if I could have my kids, but I have to pay a stipend to the chick who's the mother, I'd do it. As long as it's reasonable and she can't extort me for anything. Here's the hush money, take it and get the hell out of the way. You know? So, I didn't have to do that, but that's what I would do because I think that's where it's at. And I think the money, you got to follow the money with these laws. The reason why the women don't want to give up the kids, and I'm going to just shut up on it, is because whether the money goes to the kids or not, it's extra money going in their hands because they make less than men do.
So Callie Bev is breastfeeding all the kids in the world, and because she breastfed,
Salute to you,
now
Cali Bad.
it's common.
I'm,
Now
I'm done. The next,
Hey,
go ahead. Next.
salute
Yeah,
to Cali
let me
Bad.
slide
you
in.
you said something very this is pretty interesting. I want y'all to kind of make the connection between this. When I told you the story about my homeboy whose ex, well, no, they were never married, but whose girl won't give him his child without getting to keep the child support. The average, Coco made a good point. She said the average payment is between $400 and $500. I think it's like $470 a month. But you said, Mr. Rich, give that to her
On some
as
portion of it.
hush money. Yeah. But the average American doesn't have $400 in savings. So that money is vital to caring for the child. He should be able to keep it. And in fact, here's the funniest part about it. Statistically speaking, women own most of the consumer debt and they get evicted from their spots
That's why they don't want to give
double
up
at
the
the rate
kid.
that men do. So we are better with money than they are.
That's why they don't want to give up the kid.
Yeah, hey, that's a
Because that's
fact.
the attachment to it, the money. They don't give a shit about the kid. They want the money that's coming in. Well, some of them
Yeah.
might,
I could,
give
I
up.
could go
Well,
They
you
now.
know,
I could,
men, men doing this early
yeah,
age
hold on. It's
support
my
programs.
turn. It's my
Hold
turn.
up,
It's
we're
my
going
turn.
around. King
It's
Spark, go
my
ahead.
turn. My turn. And look, so I hate their argument, Afropop, when they start talking about the kid is expensive. First of all, these grown ass women is expensive. Damn, a kid, a man taking care of a grown ass woman every day. They eat way more. They're way more expensive. They more lavish. They're just right? Just for that right there. And there's an element to it that I would have loved to have my boys with me because that puts me in a whole different mindset and how I move to knowing I gotta pick up my kids tonight, to knowing I gotta, be with my kids tomorrow. I gotta do this with my kids. Like I think a whole lot of men would love to have that responsibility of having a shorty right up under them, and they would move totally different. But as far as the money part, I don't buy the money part because most Americans throw away leftovers. Most Americans, after they cook, they don't eat all the food. There's definitely enough food left for one child,
I hate
right?
leftovers, bro. You
You
right.
know what I'm saying? So
I
like,
hate them shit.
Sugar Mike,
Hold
definitely,
on, hold
we
on, hold on.
definitely got,
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him
Go
finish.
we
ahead, bro.
definitely
Go
got
ahead.
enough money for that. And just like everything else, you go to the store, you need some shoes. Most Americans got how many pairs of shoes? Okay, so that means you got enough to buy your kid a pair of shoes. And the same with clothes. We got extensive ass closets and all this shit. So that money part, I don't buy that shit for 1 second. But that's all I got.
All right. Trucker
Coco.
Yale. Oh, I thought Coco asked the question.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you know
asked a
what? You did ask
question.
the question.
But I just want to I want to think when it comes to expenses with children or in a household, typically it is rent, and then the most expensive expense. And then after that, daycare would be the second most expense, and
Yep.
typically food would be number three. So just to get perspective
Oh,
on,
I like this
um,
You
point
know,
that CC made. Let me
we
There
read
is
gotta
this
we
real
gotta
something.
quick.
stop.
There is
Go ahead,
something that
Trucker
I got to
Yale.
say. There is
Hold
something
on,
that I
real
got
quick,
to
Trucker.
say.
Hold on,
There
Mr.
is something that
Economic.
I got to say.
Hold on.
There,
Trucker
CC
Yale
says most
is
single
next.
fathers are not single men. They usually have a woman in the house helping them with the child. Most single mothers are single women with no man in the home. It's not the same. So I have no
exactly
idea
right.
the
that's a lie.
statistical basis of this, but what I can say from a standpoint, this is absolutely true from an anecdotal standpoint. I know someone with 4 kids who was depressed after his divorce. He was mapping out a way to take care of them by himself. Within 4 months, he had a woman that was like, "I'll help you take care of the kids." And within a year, they were married
Yeah.
and they got their own kid and family and just thriving. So
women are
it's
not.
absolutely
Women
true.
are nurturing. They're nurturing by nature.
Women
Men
love
are
to
not
take care
nurturing.
of your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. Women are nurturing by nature. It doesn't matter if they have kids or not. They
Hold
will
on.
still nurture.
Trucker Yale's supposed to go next.
Some,
Trucker Yale's. We gotta
some,
stay in order. Trucker Yale gotta go
yeah.
next.
Trucker Yale's next.
Trucker, go ahead.
Okay. Can I answer her question about what
Yeah,
age?
that's what we
Oh, that's
doing.
that's what. Okay. So, um, I would say as early as possible. Me personally, after the breastfeeding, I say 1 years old. I'm gonna give you that one. And I'm only saying that because the earlier you teach that man, you teach them the right way how to move, the better. That way, by the time they turn 10 or 11, you ain't really got to worry about it. You just got to make sure they stay on the right path. Instead of what most people tend to do, which is ass backwards, is that they wait till their kid is 10 years old, 13 years old to actually instill shit. That's backwards. No. The earlier the
Uh,
better.
to add to that, right? Am I next? I'm sorry about that. Am I next?
It's actually Joe, cousin Joe. Are you just listening?
Okay.
That man is working. You putting together.
Sorry about that, man. Dog, I got to rebuild a pressure ring, so they they're a pain in the butt.
Oh,
Anyway, I just wanted to give me a little anecdotal experience. It'll be real quick. I just went to court with my ex-wife. We've been divorced for 5 years. And I tell you something about the court system. A lot of people don't understand. There is no limitation on how many times she can file unless you say something about it. So the thing is, I learned this the hard way. She wanted to increase the child support. And I said, you know what? fine, Your Honor, because no matter what I give her, that is not going to satisfy her.
Never enough.
So then I looked at her and then I looked at the magistrate and I said, you know what? So what you're trying to tell me is I get my daughter every other weekend, 2 weeks at the end of the year, that's 64 days a year, and I get this, and I also additionally have to pay an extra $12,000 a year. And they just looked at me. So I looked back at them and I said, no problem, let's do that. Because I pay more money than that right now that I have her. I said, but that'd be the only goddamn dime she'll get. Guess what? They dropped that real quick. Real quick. A lot of people don't understand this, and gentlemen, y'all have to understand this. You need to go to court. Every time she take you to court, you show up. If you don't have a lawyer, show up. Just sit there. Look pathetic. Try it, man. I'm telling you, it works. Anyway, I'm finished.
I'm gonna say 7 years of pain. And,
Okay. This is what I was going. This is what. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Was it John the Baptist? You next.
No, was it John the Baptist? I thought it was him. I thought it was OG right there.
All right. Well, John the Baptist not. All right, Mr. Ikene, go ahead.
Okay, this is one thing I can say when it comes to having a child and a man being here. When a child is born, that first 2 weeks, the mother tends to be baby. But if you guys, based on your experience having kids, which I have seen people that have kids around me do, and also when my little brother was born, right? When you see a child after 2 weeks, when the dad picks that child up, there is always this bond that goes through a child and the father. That child, for some reason, knows that this is my father. You see what I'm saying? So that is why, if you got to wait till your child is 5 years or 4 years to start being in his life or her life, it's very dangerous, because kids bond with their dad 2 weeks after birth. So I will say, be there the very first month to install your emotional imprint by contact, and then start being there every day or every other day. Even on your way back from work, stop by. Touch that baby. Talk to him. You see what I'm saying? Even when the mother is pregnant with that child, even if you don't like the mother, go to her belly, speak to your baby. Kids react, even inside the stomach, they react, even inside the uterus, or whatever they call it. They react. You see what I'm saying? They know that their dad is talking. Because if you look emotionally, right, kids don't like their mother the way they like their fathers. Kids love their fathers, but they are emotionally bonded to their mom when it comes to protecting their mother. But they will gravitate towards their father no matter what. That is why I do tell women this. I say to women most of the time, don't you ever try to separate your son or your daughter from your baby daddy. Because after 18 years, that child is going to go back to the father, and the father is going to tell him every single thing that you did. And guess what the child is going to do now that he's an adult? That child is going to believe the father better than the mother, because guess what? The father was telling the truth that the mother was crazy. So don't take away a man from his child, because children will always go back to their parents. He might spend all that money. You might say every crap that you want to say. That child will always go back to his father or her father.
Who's rocking now?
I'll go if you're not going, John.
All right, who's next? I don't know who's next.
All right.
I thought I was next, but I'm confused.
You're next, John. If you want your turn.
Oh yeah, I was ready. I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure who it was. I thought I was, but I wasn't sure. So I've been listening to this question that Trigger Mike asked the question, and the question was, will fathers do more or less without child support? Now we got derailed off the question, and the question turned into, it became a discussion how little men pay in child support, and they gave a national average of $400 a month, I guess, which is completely different question that was being discussed. And this is the problem that we have when it comes to these subjects. Somebody says something that's off subject, off task, that derails the whole conversation. It was not about how much money the man pays, but the question was, how much would the man do? Because doing for a child is just not based on just money alone. And a man would do more than what child support requires, money-wise, activity-wise, because men, fathers, care for their kids. And so we got to quit running the conversation that men pay very little money in child support. Well, first of all, women, if you look at who women sleep with and who women with what they earn, no one earns a lot of money. So therefore, the national average is going to be low. If the average salary is $50,000 a year, what do you think child support is going to be? But that does not answer the question, what would a father do? A father would do whatever he can to make sure that child's going to be successful off of $50,000 a year. And he won't ask the mother for help to do it. And so we got to quit letting people derail the conversation with these false ideology points that's not dealing with the subject matter. What would a father do? Same thing fathers have done for centuries. They went to war. They went to work. They worked themselves to bare knuckles and bones to raise their kids. And they will keep doing that even when the court try to put them in jail. That's what I'm saying. Men have to learn the system and stop letting people derail you. I'm done.
I feel like I just got yelled at. How about y'all?
Yeah, I got yelled at. That's a great point. Great point. Facts.
Good yelling. Good yelling.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry. All right. No pun intended. To the topic at hand. I9 King Colin, what's going on, my man? What you got on the topic?
Thank you for letting me onto the panel, first of all. Child support is ruining our community because it's obvious. The fathers in the home are being taken advantage of. We're taking care of women that really don't care about us and don't care about the well-being of the child either. They'll end up taking the money and spending on nails and their car payments and their bills when they should be doing their own instead of taking our money. I'm going to read the thing again. Is child support unconstitutional? You're damn right it is. How could you say something that's been fucking us over in the black community or messing us over in the black community for the last 50, 60 years or whenever it is that it was established to be negative for us? Constitutional. That's all I got to say, man. I want to keep going with the conversation. I don't want to derail it. I know I'll derail it if I keep talking. So
can we get a stat, Afropop? Afropop, can we get a stat of how many white men are on child support before Chaotic speaks? Can we find out how many white men are on child support? So I'm going to get you involved, Chaotic. I want to get you involved.
We got the last African going first. We got to go.
He ain't next. He is not next.
Last African, go ahead.
My bad. What was the question?
Damn, what is the question? Will fathers do more or less if they don't have to pay child support? Will they do more or less for their kids? D-Town, I see you in the back. Give me a thumbs up. I'll drop down.
Well, I feel like, from experience, being on the system, right? Having to go through that. That's your only advice. That's your only leverage that you have is to say, if you go that route, if you go the child support route, then that's all you're gonna get, right? And it's only a threat. It's not meant to, you know what I'm saying? You not like that's all you're gonna literally do, but that's your only thing you can go because you don't have nothing to fight with. And from another point, when you look into any courtroom, ain't no white women in the child support line in the child support court. It's a line that goes out the door. Yeah, and that's real. That's them facts. Ain't no Mexican women. You might have one or two, and when they go up there, they say, "Nah, I don't want nothing. He don't owe me nothing. He don't owe me nothing." Right? That's only black women that do that. Right? And another comment about the breastfeeding thing. They should use formula. Period. But they shouldn't be allowed to breastfeed with what all the poisons and toxins that they put in their body. I'm talking about with glue and hair and all that other mess, right? They shouldn't be allowed to breastfeed. Formula is probably a safer bet.
Wait.
All
That
right.
ain't all women, sir. That ain't all women. I gotta be honest.
Drugs, alcohol.
I'm broad brushing it. I got a broad brush on, boy. I'm generalizing. Okay, there it is.
All right, I got you.
I'm not being specific. We talking about the majority. All right, and then on top of that, the fake hair and the glue, they wear a bonnet to protect it.
What?
You actually go through extreme measures to protect the fake hair. It's property at this point. I'm done.
Boy, you preaching. Keep on preaching. I'm gonna drop something in the chat for that. We keep on preaching, bro.
Rilla, will fathers do more or less if they don't have to pay child support?
Man, I've been listening to y'all, getting ready for work. Y'all are highly entertaining on this topic. And then whoever cussed everybody out for not staying on topic, shout out to you, bro. I think that was John the Baptist. Shout out to you, bro. Listen, man. Okay. If we want to look, and I know this is not all. I know everybody doesn't live this life, but look at how many entertainers, look at how many, like the Chris Browns or the 50 Cents, right? Say, I was giving her $12,000 a month. She wanted to get more. She wanted to get more money up out of me, right? Like men, especially when we have the resources, we're gonna do everything we can. This concept that men won't do, it's a foreign concept to me. In terms of a man would not do more, like you got to put him on child support in order to make him do something, whatever. That's insane to me. Insane. Dudes will work 2 and 3 jobs. They'll do whatever they got to do to make sure they're taking care of the needs of their child. Only thing the child support, and I heard a couple of brothers say, man, if you put them people in my business, that's the only money my child going, because I will never look at it like I'm paying the mother of my children. I pay my seeds. I don't pay her nothing. Right? Somebody else was talking about how well men manage money. Well, for some women that say, well, I don't need your little funky child support. Well, dang, when my child turns 18, I expect them to have a good amount in that savings account.
Exactly.
How often you think that happens? When they get that earned income, that earned child credit on that tax return, how much of that goes back to the child actually, as opposed to, well, I got needs, I got bills, I got this, I got that. Man, come on. It's the dudes that I know in my cipher, and this is anecdotal. The dudes in my cipher, they take care of their seeds, fam. They do more. And then what happens is, because these brothers got good jobs, the mothers will, they try and take them to court to get more. I haven't had my child support adjusted since 2013. So whatever she getting is what my daughter's gonna get till she hit 18. And then, that is what it is. But the dudes in my cipher that I know go above and beyond to take care of their seeds.
Hey, listen, I forgot about that whole when it comes to taxes, do y'all think these women are sharing the money with the baby's father?
No, absolutely not.
We know that shit ain't
Hell no. So we can even factor that into a reason why they don't want to. That's a part of the control that we're talking about. But my man Chaotic Truth came by to we don't know. He's my man is a wild card, so I don't know.
Everybody mic up. Everybody mic up. We might all be yelling at one time.
Just hear me out. I know I'm gonna get cut off.
And probably rightfully so. Go ahead.
Put the weed down. Stop listening to rap music. Stop drinking alcohol. Start vetting any woman that you're with. Vet her family. You can't just vet the woman. Vet her entire family. Stop having children outside of wedlock. That is the answer. You can destroy the child support court. It wouldn't even exist if y'all just stop having children outside of wedlock. I don't have any children because I am waiting for the right time. But a lot of you guys are not properly vetting. If anybody's young listening, learn from the mistakes of people who are on those billboards, Negroes who owe $50,000 in child support arrears. Learn from the people in child support court. I was a probation officer, and I saw so many good black men, especially, mad because they got to pay child support. You don't have to stick your penis in every fucking woman on. Can I cuss over here, Trigger Mike? You don't have to stick your penis inside of every woman you see. That's your problem as black men. I'm here to shame you. I'm not here to comfort you and say nice shit to you. There's a problem with men having children outside of wedlock. Now, it is Women History Month, and I told you guys I'm simping all this month for the black woman. And a lot of you drive-by shooting, smoking weed Negroes got to listen to this. Stop having children outside of wedlock. That's the answer. Oh my God, that's the only answer. Go ahead, guys. You got the floor. I didn't mean to call you niggas
chaotic.
It's all right.
Go ahead. Chaotic. Question. I got a question for chaotic real quick.
Go ahead,
chaotic.
sir.
We talked earlier about the fact that most child support cases originate from divorce court. So if you're saying I agree with you, one of the solutions is for men to stop having kids out of wedlock, then what do you say to the men who did it right, had a seed within the confines of marriage, and still got put on child support? What say you, sir? You have the floor.
Okay, I'll give you an answer. First of all, you've contradicted yourself. The majority of black households, if we're using black households, most black households aren't
that's right. I don't like that statistic. It's got to be wrong.
So what I'm saying is that most of these kids are born out of wedlock. Secondly, I literally just said the word vet. You have to vet the woman that you're with. So if she divorces you, that's your fault.
So chaotic. That's what I was saying earlier to your point that, I get up here and I tell the young dudes, don't move this way, don't move that way, because I don't want to see you go through what I went through, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I appreciate the men that are literally telling these dudes, because I heard this panel when I was younger, and they expressed the fact that, choosing the woman of your, choosing a woman is so valuable.
Yeah.
It would have been a different outcome.
Yeah.
I didn't learn that until after, so that's what I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So to that, another point to that is, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife get divorced, I'm illiterate when it comes to the law. I'm not in this situation. I'm only speaking what's common sense. Now, if it's legal to me, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I would say men would do a better job if you was in this situation. Fight 50-50. Fight for 50-50. Live in the same zip code. And don't pay child support, period. Because what happens is when you involve the government into your business, men gonna lose every single time. Mm-hmm. So the best thing you could do is fight for 50-50. Make sure that when you get custody, when you have 50-50 custody, that you and the woman that you have a child with have to restrict yourselves to where you can live to within a certain zip code. That way, everybody is responsible for the child when the child lives with them.
Yeah, that sounds good, but the woman has to cooperate with that.
Well, what I'm saying,
that's the issue. Women don't cooperate with that.
Well, what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna I'm saying in this situation, get the court involved, because now she's brought the court into it. Now that she's brought the court into it, your best move to me is to fight 50-50.
Your best move is not to have children before. There you go again. You're conflating. No, you're conflating, because we're already here now. So now we can't go back to the best thing is not to have kids. Well, you already got the kids here. You already got the man down on the child support. Well, so
now this is where we at. So this is where we at right now. So because where we are right now is the best thing a man can do is stop fighting for shared custody, fight for 50-50, and make each person live within that zip code. You make more money, get you a better lawyer.
Well,
okay, go ahead, conflate. Go ahead, conflate.
John, this is code for John saying he has time today. Just in case anybody was wondering.
John is not playing today. He's not playing today.
You can only control yourself, and you can only control what you can control. You can't control what the woman does, and then you can look into the game to see what the court will allow.
But women try to control men through the courts. Women try to control men in the courts all the time. So you just made another false argument. Women use courts to control men all the time.
To say you can't control other people. That's not a false statement.
No,
wait,
but I'm just saying though, no, but you just
Furthermore,
conflated
why the
again
hell we
because
bringing
women
weed into this situation? Weed is a
because
billion-dollar industry,
women do
people.
it all the time. Women use the court to
$1
control
billion.
men.
Let's talk about weed.
Money and
I
morals
keep
are two
telling them
different
stop
things, and
smoking weed.
weed
so
affects
Chaotic started
people's
that
again,
bullshit.
morals.
I think what would
Hey,
help
You know what?
Ben,
what would help to John the Baptist's point is a men to have a as well of an understanding of the law as possible, because not to say that you would have more things in your favor, but you know exactly what's in your favor and what is not. And a lot of times people move out of fear and ignorance because they do not know what the law says and what rights they have and what rights they don't have under the law. They make a lot of assumptions. So
No,
I'm not saying
that's
no.
that's
That
inaccurate
is
though.
no. That's
well,
not
well,
No,
true.
well, well, Coco,
That
what you
is not
trying to
Yeah,
get
true.
this
at? What
what
kind of assumptions? When a man
no,
is
cause
getting his
with
ass kicked, what does the
no
assumptions matter? Men are coming up on
men do
the
not move
losing
out of
side.
men do not move out of fear. Men move out of respect and honor. Men who want to take care of their kids, assuming that both parties want to take care of their kids. Now, what men shouldn't do is assume that women walk in the same integrity as men.
I didn't say
'Cause
men. Wait. I didn't say men move out of fear. I said that there's a
you
lot of
just said it.
assumptions. No, I did not. What I
Okay.
said, what I said is that there are a lot of assumptions when it comes to the law, and a lot of people do not
But what
investigate
do you
what
mean
the
by that?
law,
What do you mean by
what the
but
that?
now
law,
you're talking that's
meaning.
talking like a social worker.
What do you
That's
mean by
social worker talk.
assumptions? That's what I'm
When
saying.
this
When we
whole
talk about,
no, when men need to understand what that whole system is designed to do is to cripple us financially, right?
All right,
There's
so
no
let's
other
go back.
function for it, right?
Let's go back to
So I
what
mean, no,
Sway.
All right. So
no, if you accept that and understand, only black women are in the courts. Only black women are in there.
that's
Let's go
So if you
incorrect.
back
go,
to what's
so
That is
send,
incorrect.
if you go send a message, now, if you go send a message to young black boys, right? It's telling them to date outside, they date white girls, date Muslim girls,
no. Yeah, well, that's
date
chaotic too.
anything.
Let's go
Hey,
back to what chaotic said.
because
Let's-
no.
Chaotic, you
yeah, I
This
was
is
invited
the
about to
all
have
reason
the
a
why.
field
attorneys
day
up
with
here
this.
No,
together.
this is the reason why. This is the reason why. Because when you speak of
let's go.
when you speak of black girls, when you speak of your daughter, right? When you speak of your own daughters, you say box. They're shooting up the club, smashing,
I don't.
talking about her womb. No, that's what men use when they talking about the same dudes that say I got a girl, I'm a girl dad, and I got a daughter. Say things like box, refer to a woman's her womb as something and speak it, and that's violence, right? You
Hey,
speaking
Trigger
of
Mike.
making love, you're not talking about making love. That's violence. You
Trigger Mike.
associating something. You associating love with violence. So
But can I speak to
so
can I speak to a stat that establishes that most, so 76%
it's all wrong.
of, yeah, well, 76% of men who have a child under the age of 19 that are single will have to pay or do pay some form of child support. That is correct. So that is for all every man in the United States. So it's not something that only affects black men. It affects
If you
all
go
men.
to court, go to your local courthouse and go to your local child support court. All right, and then come back next week and you tell us because it's on what is it, Wednesday? It's still Tuesday and Thursday. What is it? I don't know what it is down
Sit there from 7 to 5 p.m.
there.
and see how it
You
goes.
can just look at the line outside. You can tell the line outside the door before they start letting them in. It's gonna be all black girls.
But what I'm
You're gonna
saying
have
is, but again,
what?
according to the statistics, most child support cases are handled in mediation before being the court. Now, for black people,
Man, that
No,
is
again,
no, no.
why.
This
That is why.
this is how
let me
this is
finish.
how it turned out. Okay, let me
Because
show you how black boys get it. This is how black boys get it. First, it's on Facebook that she's pregnant, right? It's on Facebook. She'll put it on Facebook first, and then she'll call and tell her mama or something like that, right? And they gonna already be asking whose it is, and she gonna say it's his, or anything. Then he'll get a phone call, or she'll text him and give him a little note, right? That's how y'all operate. And then
I
he'll
don't
be,
know.
and then about then about 9 months after into it, he already be in debt about a year when he finally get to go to court, right? He'll be already had that debt. It'll be back pay, and right. And look, and this is the idea that's implanted in his head. She owe him. I mean, he owe her. He owe her, right? This money. He owe her money, right? So I guess when you do talk about I'm going to draw a similarity here. Say you take a victim of a rape or something, right? Or a victim of a crime.
Great.
No, wait, time. Let me land. You take the victim of a crime, right? And say the perpetrator of that crime is found guilty. It might be they might owe some civil damages, right? Is that correct? Okay, now if you take the same thing, if you shoot up the club, if you shoot her club up and she got some victims, right? Okay, then that person who shot the club up has got to now pay some civil action or some dividends to the victims, right? To sustain their injuries, right? So that's how we're going to associate children, right? They the victims of this horrific crime, this terrible tragedy, this violent act.
Can we go back to what Chaotic said? Listen, every man, and we got to teach them as men who are older. Women are like, some of you might get this, are like a siren song. Women are like a siren song. The Pandora is always singing to us, okay? And men have to realize that the song is going to say, take me as it's available. Some women are going to make you put on a Jimmy Jam, some won't, and most won't. Right? They want to raw dog you as much as you want to raw dog them, and you're gonna take them as they give you. That's the 7-on-7 guy. It's where the discipline comes in, where you say, if you are an informed young man, that I don't even like this woman I'm getting ready to smash. I can't put my Jimmy Johnson in there raw. And men, that's where men come in. Even though women have the right of last refusal, they got to consent or else it's SA. We got to take our responsibility before we accept her proposal. She's singing to us. That shit is standing right there, spread wide, singing like Aretha Franklin. And we're saying, and we're lured into that. And we gotta kind of understand that our role is, I don't even like this woman. I don't want to be with her for 18 years or 21 years. If I go in there and shoot up the club and abdicate all of my control to this chick, you kind of deserve what the freak you get. You know, I'm just trying to say to the fellas, you can't have it both ways. Just like the chicks can't have it both ways.
Let me push back. Let me push back on that. Man.
Hey, the resident Pookie
talk to them, Mr. Kane.
Let me just land. Let me talk about it's my body, my choice. That doesn't just go for the A word. That goes for the guy who wants to put the tip in. It goes for all of that stuff. So because I have a lady that don't want to even talk to me no more because I won't let her get away with that shit. Women are controlling their womb. When we say women control sex, it has to mean something, right? So no man is responsible for a woman. Women have to be responsible for everything that is inserted in their Pandora. Period. I don't give a shit what the man has. We always want to stick it in. We always, and we're going to take it any way the woman gives it to us. And so we can't absolve the chick by taking any of the responsibility up to including the point where we want to be stupid. Right? So that's it. I mean, okay, so that's my little thing. Maybe some of you might get it, maybe someone won't.
I get what you said, but you know what really chops my hide is
hold on, King Spot, what revelation you speaking out of the Pookie Bible today?
You said what?
What revelation you about to give us out of the Pookie Bible today?
This is shoulda, coulda, woulda, 96 and 15. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Now, I would like to say that I don't like the fact that people are acting like these babies get born off of these one night stands. Like, come on, man. When you end up getting a chick pregnant, it ain't no chick that you looking at thinking, man, should I strap it up or not? And then you busting her that night. Now that's extremes, right? Yeah, I got baby mothers. Hold on. I'm just telling you something, right? I'm talking about experience. My baby mother My baby mother came because I met her in college, right? I waited 3, 4 months to date her. We started dating, we moved in together. We got way past the rubber stage. After you wake up with somebody 6 or 7 times, you ain't reaching for no condom. Like, come on, man. She was my whole woman, right? She was my whole woman. Not no, just you muted, Mr. Payne, which I think is a good thing. But I'm saying she was my whole woman, man. That's all I'm saying. It's not these just rando. You meet somebody and then busting them and get them pregnant, man. That's not normal at all.
But that's
Why do you always?
your anecdotal
That's not normal,
experience.
bro.
That's not the average. The average
You think the
baby
average
kid,
baby mama comes off a one night stand?
is
A lot, a lot
busting
of these
random
dudes.
chicks.
Off a
You
one
know
night
what?
stand, you think the
Yeah,
average baby
I
get
gotta
we
agree
born?
get
with King
busted.
Spark on this one.
Come on,
I
man.
gotta agree with King Spark on this
Man,
one.
y'all so easily distracted and confused. Who?
Our dad about to
Okay,
yell at us again.
why we
Let's
sit
see.
here talking about? Okay, we understand that people make mistakes and
Coco's
have
a Jordan.
kids.
Look at him. He did everything.
So why we sit here? Okay, so now the problem is we're trying to solve the problem. Okay, so the issue is we shouldn't have kids out of wedlock. If you do have kids out of wedlock, what's the best scenario raising this kid now? Whether it was a one night stand that got the kid here, whether it was a long term relationship that got the kid here, the problem now is the kid is here. So now the question is child support constitutional?
Yep.
How get the baby
Yeah,
here?
it's constitutional, of course it is. But it should go straight to the child. It
No,
shouldn't
it's
go
actually
to
not.
the woman to to
It's
to
not
divvy it up as she sees. I mean, I guess it's not constitutional
No,
according to
no,
the
the
So
way
people
it's
down there.
I was gonna say,
constituted might
let's
not
get
be,
to the
but
next
child
question.
support in
Let's
general
get to
is
the next question. We actually gonna
constituted.
start with chaotic. I see you in the back,
Chaotic.
Robert. Let me get a thumbs up, so I'll let you
I
up.
gotta ask, cause you got
All
that
right, bet.
Joker smile that you about to tell. You about to say
All right,
something.
listen. We're gonna start with Mr. Roberts in the back. I'm gonna bring him up to take my spot. The next question is, in fact, let me read the super chats first, then we're gonna get to the next question. Mr. James Sharp, $5 says the courts. What is this icon in front? The courts give custody to moms because their kids feed the prison system, follow the money. I already read that one. All right. BZ, question for the panel in chat. Do women look at single motherhood as a badge of honor? I feel like y'all take this strong black woman thing too far. I think they do, bro. They
Hell
do.
yeah, they do.
I
That's
think they do.
hard.
I think because see, I think it's a level system thing.
Oh,
When you
you
can't
got
get into the wives club, you have to create your own club.
wait.
And then it's the baby mama club.
Didn't wasn't Kiki Palmer just bragging about this?
Exactly. Get pregnant, girl. Your acne gonna the most trifling shit I ever heard in my life.
And she came back with
Aquila and the
something
Beast.
worse than
I'm
that.
throwing that damn movie away.
Hey Trigger,
All
can
right.
you repeat that question? My phone kind of zogged out there for a second.
It said, "Do women look at single motherhood as a badge of honor? I feel like y'all take this strong black woman thing too far." Well, you think they see it as a badge of honor, John the Baptist? Yeah, in fact, no, they do. They do. They take a whole all my life I've had to fight type thing about single motherhood, going on whims. I've literally called one of my instructors to fire her for lack of compliance, not grading papers, not showing up to meetings. And guess what she threw in my face? That's the reason why she couldn't do none of that shit. I'm a single mom. I don't give a fuck. I'm a single mom. I don't give a fuck. Do your work. What the hell that got to do with me? I'm telling you, that excuse is used so much as if we're supposed to care, as if life don't keep on spinning. I'm sick of it. All right, Spencer Campbell, $10. Appreciate that. I say burn the system down. In Michigan, a man was facing 5 years in prison. Michigan courts knew he wasn't the father of the child. So why will I ever listen to a woman about problems with the child support system?
Yep, that's a fact.
Savage Red Recovery, $10. I pay child support for one kid and get child support for my other child. One mixed one, not the court. Screws you over either way. Protect yourself, men. That is a fact. Protect yourself. All right, we got the next question coming up. I'm going to let Mr. Robert, read it. The question on the panel now is, why do you think the government seems to be reversing legislation that benefits women? I'm going to drop down.
Hello.
We can hear you.
You got it, soldier.
You just muted yourself.
You muted.
What was the question again? I'm about to put it on the side of the road real quick.
Why do you think the government seems to be reversing legislation that benefits women?
Because the women are getting out of control. I mean, it's just that simple. The women are out of control now. And they're fighting. It's like they're fighting two battles at this point. You know, they're fighting the LMNOP community and they're fighting the women. You know, and they got to get somebody under control. You know, and that's kind of where I am with it. You know, I was actually coming on for the last subject. You know, I don't know if I can speak on it or not. You know, can I?
Go ahead, knock yourself out.
Say that again.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. Okay. So this is what I have. Child support. It is it's not constitutional, but it's not enough of us coming together to stand against it to make it fair. But what we have to do is to combat that is find a way. Once the baby get here, we got to find a way to finesse the situation. Like my suggestion is, once the baby gets here, everyone needs to just get DNA tests so they'll know from the start if the baby is theirs. Another thing, once a girl tells you pregnant, once a girl tells you she's pregnant, just go ahead and start just giving her something or doing something for the baby until the baby gets there. That's gonna give her a sense of okay, well, he's trying. But regardless if she acts up or not, you know, you're working on that situation. Okay, once the baby gets there, if you decide you don't want to be with her, you should get with a lawyer, get some type of paperwork written up yourself, and some type of agreement with her to where you can come up with something that you can pay her every month and not have to go through the state and deal with that situation like that, you know? And that's kind of my suggestion.
Okay.
I find some clarity in that statement.
All right,
So-
let's go to Mr. Rich. You there?
Yeah, you can go to King Spark on this one.
All right, I'm actually, because this is a political question, this seems to be my man Chaotic's strong suit. Mr. CT, why do you think the government seems to be reversing legislation that benefits women?
We live in very woke times, I believe. And I believe that reversing legislation that benefits women will only further encourage men to continue the debauchery of sleeping outside of marriage and having an ample amount of children. If you ask me, legislation that is for women, you would think would actually discourage men. So it hasn't done that. So if you reverse it, a man will say, well, you know what? Shit, I ain't got to pay anything. I ain't got to do this. I don't have to do that. So they'll continue to do it. There could be a multiplicity of reasons why. Maybe they need to feed the prison system. Maybe they need to feed some sort of system. So maybe more children will be born. If you take away legislation for women, if you ask me, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
You are.
I'd like to get my spot back now. Based on that.
Okay.
I think, Chaotic, you're right, but that's not what's going to happen. If they change the legislation the women will understand that the safety net is starting to dissipate.
Ooh, I didn't think about that perspective.
And anything that we can get women to start saying no again, like they used to, like every man here who's older than 10 years old, when he was out there trying to get laid, women used to know how to say no. They used to. Now they don't know how to say no. If you look good, you got the right height, you don't have to have shit going for you. If you satisfy my aesthetics, I'm giving you the Pandora. And not only am I giving you the Pandora, I'm going to allow you to shoot up the club. I'm going to allow you to put every bacterial fucking thing on your Johnson into my womb.
And then drive off in my car.
And then drive off. And, so women are out of control. And that's why society's out of control. Men have been the same forever. We're going to take the Pandora any way they give it to us. And we have been doing that since the beginning of time. And so once the pill came out, once women knew they could have sex indiscriminately, and once feminism enforced free love and free sex, the black woman had a battery put in her back, and they're absolutely off the rails for the most part in a lot of different areas. So take away some of these safety nets, and maybe we could have guys starting to understand that it's not as available like it used to be. That's just my take on it.
Are you eating a corned beef sandwich, sir?
Close to it.
Okay, I kind of figured.
I think there's a lot of conversation about anecdotal and societal lived experience, but we have to recognize the history of how things came to be. So when it came to child support was a okay, no problem. It was an offshoot of the divorce laws when it came to women asking for permission to leave marriages that were abusive or this, then the third. And from there came about child support. And the initial child support laws, and I may be messing up the exact dates, were established late 40s, early 50s, 60s, in order, because most of the time, and again, this was not about Black people. This was made for white women and
So
white
you're deflecting,
men.
Coco.
So why are they reversing?
Y'all gotta let her talk. Y'all gotta let her talk. Let her talk.
Yes, thank you.
Come on, y'all. Please.
So
she's not answering the question, though. She's not answering the question.
I'm getting to the question. Why do you think the
hasn't finished,
government?
brother.
Because thank you. Because unfortunately, a lot of people do not know history, do not know where things originated from. So if you don't know where it originated from, you don't know where it led to the conditions that we are right now. So because laws have been antiquated, when it comes to government changed with the times. So initially, it was for divorced women who could not support themselves because they were not working. That's where you get alimony, all that stems from how the structure was back then. Now it's being updated to fit modern times. Now, I don't know which governments, because again, child support is a state. States have, it's not a federal law when it comes to child support. It's more state mandated. So states, you know what, chaotic, you're right. So,
I can look at you and tell. Oh, I can look at you and tell.
And I'm a Delta too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna stop right there because I can't.
Chaotic. If you don't stop pandering,
Get it off.
Stop pandering.
Get it off.
Come on, man. Stop pandering.
Sorry. Let me finish it up. So yes, I do believe that that the government is looking into, certain states, because again, child support is not a federal order. States are looking into changing it. but overall, it is a billion moneymaker. And who ultimately makes the decisions about child support are white men. It's not women who are
What
deciding
do
these
women
laws.
have to do to help the situation? I mean, that's what. How come you can't answer
Oh,
that
Why? Wait,
question?
wait, 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 wait. Why would women do
Yeah, well,
something that
close
goes
the
against?
box.
Wait. But you also have to think, Mr. Payne. Why would? Why?
You refuse to answer the question. What's your?
No,
Is it your body and your choice or not?
no. You're not. You're not getting what. You're thinking it from a man's perspective.
No,
I'm being
I'm not.
honest. Wait. Let me finish.
No, we just
Why would
simply asking
women?
why is the government reversing it? Why is the government reversing it?
No, no,
That's
no,
the
no,
that's
no.
the
Which
question. That's
it's
what we're
not the
looking to
government.
hear.
When you say no, when you say government, which states are reversing it? What laws are there
oh, I
reversing
could
it?
tell you. Oh, I could tell you.
So wait.
I could tell you.
Yes, yeah, please. No. I'm
So
Don't
not.
go
hold
for
on. Hold on.
governor.
I can tell you.
Don't go for
Wait.
governor.
One is in California. One is in Texas. One is in Minnesota. One is in Michigan. One is in Georgia. They also like one is also in Delaware. Also in Vermont. New York is getting ready to hit. Let's see.
So you're
Florida's getting
saying
ready
that
to
they're
hit.
proposing
They are not.
legislation?
No, they already passed.
Okay,
It's already considered
I'll look into.
unconstitutional.
No. Wait. I'll look into what exactly that you're saying to because again, um,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not correct. I'll look into what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at it for the past day or two, and them is the states that have
Could
literally
you do you,
passed this.
do you have some links that you can drop in the chat? If not, I can. I mean,
Oh, God.
I'm in the college, so I
Yeah,
can look
all I
that up.
did was I went on Google and typed it in because I first learned about this on Instagram because it was being brought up everywhere on Instagram consistently. So I thought it was some bullshit. I'm like, man, these niggas ain't got the ball. I'm like, I never thought this shit was gonna happen in my lifetime.
So, what
And
is the
sure enough,
change that's happening?
that has been considered unconstitutional.
Do
And the fact that I know one of Georgia's things is the whole if the child is born before the child is even born, the father's already literally on child support, which is some bullshit.
hmm
That shit is insane. So that's already getting wiped off.
Wait, say that
Um,
again.
That's
if
because
a
they
child,
passed the
okay,
6 week law. So you can't get an abortion before six
right,
weeks
okay,
because the child is considered a person. So if the child is
right,
considered a person to the government, then the father has to pay child support. But they
he
have
has
to
to pay
pay,
child
but
support.
you have to establish paternity for that anyway. So that's how you can end up in the arrears because after the child is born, you got a paternity test, and then they can get you for child support while the child was
As
in utero.
at 6 months before the child is even born, they can literally put the father on child support.
They got my uncle like that.
Which, me personally, I'm like, well, shit. If that's the case, in my mind, I'm saying, why not make it? Why not? Like they already talking about making paternity test mandatory. So
Okay,
all you get is consent,
so it's not
it's
doing away from child support. It's just making it that
no,
certain
it is
person.
doing away from child support. It's definitely doing away from child support.
But what you're saying is
There
not
was
is not.
there was one where
Not
if you're
that one.
not married, if you're not married, you ain't getting shit. Somebody said that earlier. That is one of the unconstitutional things that's being changed. If you're
Okay,
not married, you're not getting nothing.
I'm confused
So
as to
what you're
what laws are being changed that
yeah.
seem to be reversing it. I mean, what laws are
The
being
reason.
reversed to benefit women?
Nothing.
What do you mean benefit
Yeah,
women?
that's what that's
Everything
That's
is
the
Child
benefiting
question.
women
support?
in no
Child
aspect.
support? What are you talking
They
about?
all
what
benefit women. What are you talking about?
no. What you're stating is statutes in terms of changing so it sounds like there was a law established according to Callie Bev that you could be put on child support before the child was born,
That's going
and
backwards.
Yes,
That
yes,
one's
but
now
going.
there
now it don't matter now
But that
and
one's
because
going
they
backwards
considered
because
it
that's based on a
unconstitutional.
and
woman's word. That one's
and
going backwards. That's not in men's favor. That one's going backwards.
yeah,
A
so I
woman could just
understand.
she look at the guy who looks like he's making the most money, and she says he's the father, whether he had sex with her or not, and they're going to put you on child support.
Well, yeah,
That ain't a good law.
yeah. So
That's not a good law.
that is
He said
being
hello to me. He did a Michael Irvin. He shook my hand in a hotel room, and I'm pregnant now. And now he got to pay child support. So he better hope that shit didn't happen in Alabama.
Matter of fact, let me change that. I'm sorry. You don't get a DNA test as long as she puts
It
you.
won't happen until after the kid's born.
Yeah, yeah. But see, this is the thing in Georgia. Before this unconstitutional, this thing was just passed. Before that, you didn't have to have a DNA. They just putting you on child support. That's that.
Can I
But that
respond
is
to
still
Trigger Mike's
doesn't
comment?
change. I'm confused. I understand that. I believe that
I
the
ain't
law
sitting
should
know what
try
you
to
do
be
with
as
text nobody.
fair as it should be, but that doesn't mean that child support is being repelled or
Not that one.
repealed.
Well, okay, in Delaware, you can't use the money. Okay.
I mean,
What's up?
everything that I'm
So I
reading
said
here
this
and my
before.
Google capabilities
It was
are
already
limited because I'm on my work computer, but it's saying that we must establish parentage for a child in order to obtain a court order for child support and health insurance coverage. So you can't just go any, meeny, miny, mo, and then pick somebody and then they have to go ahead and pay that money. I mean,
Now that's an
what?
advancement.
what
That's
am
a
I
damn
missing?
lie. Hold up. Did you not just hear the dude just talk about the
I don't care.
Michigan person?
I don't care
I've been
nothing
hearing
about
about
that.
that, and I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
Okay. So how can you sit there and say that, but the dude from Ohio is literally about to face 5 years of prison for a child that's not even his because a woman literally just dropped his name on the birth certificate?
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No, he didn't
No.
sign the birth certificate. The mother did.
The mother signed his name
There
on
are
the birth
thousands.
certificate.
There are thousands of men that go through this.
You want to wait
Okay, well,
patiently.
that's not the government's fault if the
Taliban.
mother forged his signature on the child on the birth
Okay, and
certificate.
it's not the government's fault, but guess what? The government ain't trying to take him off, just like the rest of the other ones. They basically telling him that no matter what, because of the child, he got to take care of a kid that he don't even know. He never even knew.
Well, then he would have to prove
He ain't
that
never met this woman in his
he forged the
entire life,
signature.
and he's getting ready to go to prison. You got dudes facing
He'd
prison
have to
right
prove in
now.
court that that his signature was forged on the birth certificate.
It was already proven,
So
and
then
they
what's
Fam,
still
we
won't
going
take him
way down
off.
the rabbit hole.
Okay,
We
yeah.
well,
going way
yeah,
off
What are
okay,
you
let me
topic.
get
talking
off the
We
about?
going
rabbit
way
hole.
down
Stop
the
trying to
rabbit
give these
hole.
women fucking excuses.
Like we going way down the rabbit hole. I
And
don't
y'all
even know
and
if the
y'all and
question
y'all
is
still
being answered at this point.
and y'all still keep getting
So what else
sidetracked
is
by
being reversed?
when
Wait,
the
hold on.
conversation is
Let me
being
hear what bro
derailed
saying.
and y'all still keep following it.
What else is being
Right.
Stop
reversed
falling
to benefit women?
stop falling for these traps.
All right,
No,
y'all
So
got it.
I'm
I'm
looking for
Y'all got
interested.
it.
clarity because when you say that the laws are being reversed for legislation that benefits women,
Just read the thing. Just read. When you get off of here, just read it.
Can I
Just do
finish
some
this?
searching.
All right.
Okay, I think
So,
Trigger Mike said in the back, he said I-9 was next.
so first of all, child support is for women. Whether we change it or not, it's going to be very bad for the men regardless because women are going to abuse the system. The system is made by people that don't care about the black man in the first place, and we're the people that are on the system. So we're automatically trapping ourselves by being on it, meaning that there is no end to that, whether it's changed or not, unless it's completely abolished. It will not help us in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to help us support our families. It's not going to keep our families together. It's only going to destroy us the same way that smoking weed and having babies out of wedlock is. I would also like to say that whether or not people agree, it does not matter. The fact remains that we are not going to have any type of positive influences in our families or in our children's lives because of these outrageous women trying to get things their own way and trying to make us take care of them, when in reality, the white man is trying to destroy us. That's all I got to say. Thank you for letting me onto the panel. I'm going to head out. Many blessings.
All right,
No
bro.
doubt. Appreciate that. Red pill in the back. Let me get a thumbs up so I know it's you. All right, bet. All right. Are you white, red pill?
Yes, I happen to be of a lighter hue.
You might, hey, I think we got a milestone. I'm sorry to be so abrupt, but you might be the first white person that ever graced our panel. Welcome. Fucking welcome.
Well, that's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just got off my job and found the time to try to screw up the black community, like the last guy said, because that's clearly what's going on here with these child support laws.
That's what's
that was
up,
a
bro.
joke.
We'll get to you.
We got it.
Oh, we know. We got it.
We got you. My man EBD in the back. Let me get a thumbs up. All right. So next we got we going out of order. Screw it. Wait, no, Cali Bev, you just terrorized this. I don't even know if it was your turn.
Man, we got to let Red Pill talk, man. Go ahead.
In fact, I kind of want to hear it too.
So
Red Pill, what you got on?
We're gonna go out of order just cause. Okay.
Yes, a white man is here. A white man is here.
Well, white man is here. We gotta get him.
Wow, this is hysterical for me, really.
Don't the police come faster when you call them on a nigga?
That's exactly right. We have precedent about skipping that. Everybody talking for it.
Oh, this is
I messed up
hysterical
the
to me.
order, but Red Pill, go ahead. What you got? Welcome.
This ain't even funny.
Well, to answer the question about the police, I'm a 2-time convicted felon, so no, they don't come quick for me.
I got you. I'm a 4-time. I got you by 2, buddy. I got you by 2.
Child support is
I don't know what kind of
what Coco was saying
Pookieism
about the history.
brain moment y'all was having, but what you got on it, Red Pill? On the topic, you want to talk about the topic or the question in general?
I was going to talk about it being unconstitutional.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it away.
Okay. So it is unconstitutional. And also, the way the law works, the reason that you can be put on it, I pay child support and receive child support. So you get screwed either way if you're a dude, for one. For two, there's a heavy bias when it comes down to you being in the court. Like, you have to prove way more things anytime that goes for child support. So right now, if I was to move my house to another place, they find me in a heartbeat. Like, I don't even have to be on the deed, the title. I don't have to be anywhere where I live, but they find me. It took them a year to find my daughter's mom to serve her with papers. Like, when it comes to the ability of being unconstitutional, when they go by the word of the woman, you're accused without any proof, and then they start making court processes based on the fact that you're already guilty. So that's what makes it unconstitutional. If a woman goes down there and says that you're the father, and like right now, I could get my wife pregnant. My wife can pick any man on this panel and make her child, if it's a boy, a junior, and use your first name, your middle name, your last name, and put junior. And she doesn't have to have any ties to you. And you have to get her permission to get your name, like your last name, taken off his birth certificate. Like, the way that it works is everything is geared unconstitutionally in favor of the woman. And if my wife decided to put your information down and wrote her own address as the place to serve, and you don't show up, you become the father by default. So now you are legally responsible for that child because you didn't get served court papers. If you're in Iraq serving for the military and you can't get served and you come back, you're the father by default. And once you become the father of default, it's very hard in the United States for courts to overturn that. They don't want to just not have someone paying the state for the child, because judges, actually, their pension funds are funded by the amount of money that comes in through the child support system. So that's what makes it unconstitutional, because the person that's ruling over top of your case, A, is getting a financial benefit from it, which there was that judge that was sending those black boys to that prison and was getting kickbacks, and he got thrown off the bench. So anytime that you're making a decision that funds you as a judge, that's automatically unconstitutional. The fact that you don't get an attorney, it's civil. So the fact that they can make a claim towards you, and then you have to pay money and the woman doesn't, like, everything is geared to where it's unconstitutional when it comes down to being able to being accused and being innocent before proven guilty. Because it's in the civil court, it's actually family court. So it's trash. It's really trash.
Damn, facts, man, facts. Appreciate that input.
Can I speak?
My man EBD, welcome. What you got on the topic today? I know you've been through this system a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah. So having a daughter who was taken from me when she was 5 across state lines to South Carolina. She filed for child support. Number one, but number two, I chased after her when I found out she left, hopped in my car, had like $200 in the account. She emptied our account, all my money, all that stuff. So I had to just $200 and I used it for gas, chased them across. When she got there, she filed, she went to the police and said that I put my hands on her or something like that. Of course, it didn't happen, but what happened was it allowed the police to say, well, we can't let you see her or your child or whatever because this is what she said, she claims. So again, they can say anything, get away with anything. They're believed. It's not like, and it's funny because I'm like, the question I asked was, I asked the cops, I'm like, oh, okay, so you got pictures of bruises, right? I mean, she said I hit her. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Which hand did I use? The left or the right one? Was it a open-handed slap or a punch? Was it a kick? Did she just say any of these details, or did you just have to believe her when she said I hit her? And the whole about 5 cops, and they were all silent. But I mean, I talk like that. I confront like a lot of people like that. They have nothing to say. Oh, sir, we can't help you. Then you need to visit the court in the morning and file, and So yeah, I've been through this system, and it drags you through the mud. It humiliates a man. It tells you that everything that you're going to be working for the rest of your life is going to be taxed. It's going to be taxed by the state. Here's what's always like fuck with me about child support. It's a system that the state puts you on, yet you can't file for the government that your child is a dependent. Like you cannot claim a dependent as you cannot claim your child as a dependent, even though you pay child support and what the fuck. But that's another video. But yeah, these are the types of things I think people are finally starting to look at. And I think it all starts with videos. And I think it may have started with, not started, but maybe it got kicked off with that, with the tech lead. The tech lead had I think earned over $1 million, and he was paying in child support when his wife divorced and left him. And he has to pay over 100, 6 figures or something like that in child support. And he actually broke it down and calculated it out as to, hey, if you make so much money as an income, you have to pay so much ridiculous money in child support. So this is a guy who's like a high earner talking about how he's getting screwed over. And I think if we're doing the math and we see how many people are either struggling or in poverty or on that system, I think if you think about it, if you want to fix the system of poverty, you have to start where people are getting taxed, overly taxed. And for what? And for how long? So yeah.
I would like to jump in, and if I can add to this conversation.
Go ahead, True Table.
Okay. So I did my best to stay away from this topic because it's very triggering for me. I did my best to live an anti-Pookie lifestyle, but I do have personal experience with this because I have a 17-year-old myself. And to EBD's point, this
Table, aren't you like 21? What you mean you got a 17-year-old?
37, sir, but I guess the regimen is working. 37, sir. So
I need to get some dye. You older than me, and everybody think I'm 57. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, but it's a very unconstitutional system. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna try to touch on all the things that I heard and try to compile it. One of the main reasons is because, as you can tell on this panel, most of us are very misinformed on what the law is, what the interpretation of the law is. And unfortunately, well, I won't say unfortunately, fortunately, most people are very civil. The system is geared towards operating on dysfunction. And what they won't tell you is that overwhelmingly the systems from the police, because we live in a very balanced country. Contrary to the news, a lot of crap is not happening like you think. The way that they generate money through police, through child support, is always through discrepancies and always through some level of drama. Most people are civil. They may break up, they may not be happy, but they're gonna somehow meet mutually on the kids. What tends to happen is, because it's centered around helping women, is that other women get in these women's ears, from their mothers to their sisters to their coworkers, and they share information to them to get them to think that they're going to financially enrich themselves. I'll give you a perfect example, and I'm going to touch on it specifically because I heard a young man say it, which is totally wrong. If you get a woman pregnant, which I don't recommend outside of marriage, but if it just so happens to happen, the first thing you should do is go file child support on yourself. You should not give her any money, because what they won't tell you, and what Trucker Yale touched on earlier, is that any financial contribution to this woman outside of a court mandate is considered a gift. That's how the courts work. So you have to file a child support case on yourself, and then you can funnel whatever contributions you make to her. If you want to give her whatever money, make sure you keep a receipt, and at the end of every month, you file it through the court, because that child support case will happen. Whether she does it today, 10 years later, it's going to happen. So that's the one way you can protect yourself. At the same time, what they don't tell you is that it's heavily predicated on your disposable income. So as much as possible, I'm not, alluding to anybody doing anything unconstitutional or illegal, but you have to be aware that if you make your money through a standard, W-2 or whatever, they can track your income. They can track your bank accounts. They can subpoena your bank accounts. They'll look at your tax returns, and all of these things will be up for scrutiny when it comes to proving what level of financial health you live. The unconstitutional part about it is it's separate from family law. So child support is child support. If you're ever in a child support hearing, they will not hear you on any type of family law, because visitation is based on family law structure. And that in itself, because if you don't know, and I'm here to tell you, visitation is heavily regulates how much you pay in support. The higher the visitation, the lower the support. The lower the visitation, the higher the support. So a lot of these things are working in tandem against men. And I think that we just collectively are shamed, one, for being in our community, because our community is very emotional. So they always try to make it seem like, well, you the man, just take care of it. Not understanding.
To the table, I just want to recognize that that's pretty fucked up.
Which part? What you mean?
The more you pay, what is it? Say that. Repeat that.
Okay, so if the less visitation you have, the more you pay. The more visitation you have, the less you pay. That's how it works. And it's separate. So even if you're in a child support hearing and you talk to the judge about your visitation, they don't care about your schedule. I can speak to this again personally. My son, same thing that happened to EBD. My son was stolen while I was in the military. And when I got back out of the Navy, he was already awarded the state. So I couldn't fight for custody because he was out of state, all of those things. And I pay an exuberant amount of money based on just that. It was, it was landlocked. There's a lot of things to this system that unfortunately they don't teach you. It is unconstitutional. It is tragic. And I really think that there just needs to be more emphasis on young ladies participating in having sex, because sex is an adult activity, protecting themselves and preventing the child from occurring. And then also men fighting for custody. But again, what they don't tell you is that fighting for custody, a standard retainer for lawyers like $8,000 to $10,000, and they don't guarantee that you're actually going to get the visitation structure or the child support amount that you want. They will just take the case.
Many of them advise you against doing it as well. The scrupulous ones advise you against doing it.
Exactly. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not a one-stop shop. And I think that's what I hate about it so much, is because I personally, and I'll be, first to admit it, y'all family, when I got hit with my support, I did the same thing that I think Trucker did. I paid for years. I had a whole, file, and they said, "Oh, well, thank you, sir, good job," and they slapped me with that amount. And go ahead.
They think they should. That's why I said, like, they don't think about the toll that this shit that they do. Like, you got dudes out here spending $200. I spent $100. You got men out here that ain't seen their kids in 12 years. And they spent $200,000, $300,000. just to be able to see their kid, and they can't at all because the mother want to continue dragging this shit on years, years, and years, and then she get the support. She get the support from all these women that just sit there and support this bullshit, knowing that they fucking wrong, and it's messed up.
Yeah.
And then when he finally get to see that kid, now he's at a point where I don't even have no feelings no more.
Yeah, and on top of the fact that you don't understand that with everything that you have, even in the court, if it's structured, unfortunately, even if you have a visitation structure, all it takes is for her to have an attitude that day, and it's not as quick as I think. Well, I don't know if Red Pill said it like that, but if you have an order and you show up on your visitation day, if she's mad that day and she refuses your kid, there's nothing you can do about it. You can call the cops. They may show up, and when they do show up, they're gonna say, okay, well, you gotta file a motion. Then you got to go back to court. You got to keep a log of the police thing. And it's just a process. And I think that's what I hate about it, is that it's not as simple as just paying for your kid, being a man and handling your business. And I hate when I hear women talk about this because they make it seem like it's one level. It's not. You are constantly going to have to be proven that you are an integral man, that you're a decent man, that you're a good person. And then as you increase in finances, because you will, they are going to continue to come after you for more money. So I'll digress for the moment, but
yeah,
that's what I want to share.
And
I got
I
a neighbor.
Go ahead, y'all top it up.
I'm sorry. When you call the police, like he said, you can call 10, 20, fucking 40 times. They don't do nothing. So I think some states will do something, but most states don't.
What do you mean call the police? What do you mean when somebody gets violent?
When you try to get your child.
Enforcing visitation, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
That's what I'm talking about.
The
So
state,
when you try to get your
is supposed
child
to oversee that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And you take it to court, they don't do a damn thing. Like you could, bro. I got a fucking right now. I got a damn security box with like police case numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And take them to court. They don't do a damn thing.
I mean, I think at the
end of it would be better. I think it would be better to go ahead and call the police and have that on record than to not have it at all. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying not to call the police. What I'm trying to emphasize as concisely as possible is that a lot of people operate under an illusion. The law doesn't move like that. Like police don't move like that. So even with a court order, a mandated order, it is discretionary because they will enforce it, but it's a later time frame. If you show up on Friday to pick your kid up and that mom is mad at you for whatever reason, you can call the cops. The cops will show up and they're going to say, sir, you need to file a motion, take this record, and then bring it to the judge. But that's not dealing with today. That's something that's going to happen weeks, maybe months later. And so it's a lot.
They'll show up to enforce it on the mother's behalf.
That's time, money, energy wasted and lost. That denies that child the right to know their father. Look how much money that man has lost in trying to make that transition happen. That was already recorded for. Why should men keep burying themselves under this amount of stress for a woman that is that's decided to be combative? Why?
So that's true. My question
This
to
is
y'all
your
with hearing with
judicial
all the
system.
stories is that
Welcome to America.
Hold on one second. Before you jump in with an additional question, let me answer this question and I'm gonna drop down because we've gotten way off the original question. I promise I'll be brief. Why do you think the government seems to be reversing legislation that benefits women? I think the reason why that is happening is because the heterosexual white man is tired of it. And he's starting to raise his voice. And they're forming men's rights groups. And they are petitioning the courts. All of this, I love what True Table was saying, but please believe and understand that varies state by state. It's not federally, none of this is federally mandated. Every state operates different. So it's best that you know the laws in your state. But I do see a lot of white brothers that have got taken up through there as a result of divorce or whatever. And they tired of it. You literally build the system, and listen, our women are so protected in the system, they don't even know that the safety nets they enjoy is because of the men who put those in place for their protection. People are getting tired of it. So now
Well,
you're
since
seeing
Red
them
Pill is
slowly
here,
start
we
to
blame
remove.
all of this shit on you guys.
Wait, hold on. Oh, and I'm gonna drop down after this. So, man, Rich, you made me forget my point, man. I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm
drop down.
sorry,
I'm
brother.
gonna walk
I'm
the rest of
No,
the
sorry,
show.
go
man.
ahead,
No, you good.
Rilla.
Go ahead,
Go
Red
ahead,
Pill.
Rilla.
Jump in there,
No.
Red Pill.
I
Yeah,
just
you
think
can
that
unmute Red
you're
Pill. What
seeing
were
people.
we gonna say?
You're seeing state legislatures, and as they're being petitioned, you're starting to see them repeal a lot of these safety nets embedded in some of these child support laws. But I'll yield the floor to Red Pill. Y'all go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm understanding what's going on. I think the law is trying to make it more fair as possible with some of the, I guess, policies or whatever. I'm not familiar with child support or the laws or what's established on different states, but I think that is to answer the question: why do you think the government seems to be reversing legislation that benefits women? It'll be certain parts, but I mean, again, it's not going to be a whole upending of child support.
Oh, well, hopefully. Go ahead, Red Pill. Go ahead, speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Red Pill, speak.
So it has nothing to do with white men getting screwed in child support court, because any wealthy guy that would be passing the laws has the money to pay it. Like a billionaire that pays $100,000 a month in child support, he doesn't really care. But the issue that you're having to come down to is that we're now in a time where a lot of people's parents and grandparents went through the child support court and have been completely obliterated. And those people are now becoming judges. So if you saw your dad to get destroyed in child support court and destroyed in divorce, and now you're starting to see the progressive left with the men that are now getting into women's spaces, the progressives are going to follow that trend. They're already taking women's spaces outside of child support and that stuff. You also have to take it to the point where guys are becoming passport bros and leaving. People aren't getting marriages at the lowest it's ever been. Women are not getting the relationships they want. So the system itself child support has rid its line so far out. The system is crumbling. On top of the economy crumbling, women on average make less money than men. So with the higher taxes and all these things coming up, you're not going to get more money from the people, because most of the taxes are paid by men. You're not going to get more money if these guys are leaving the country and going to Thailand and getting married in Thailand. Like, you have a large portion of men that are not getting married. They're leaving the country. They're getting out of the dating scene. They're walking away from the system. And the system is not going to be able to support itself just based on the income of women, because women don't produce like that for taxes. They just don't. So in order to get men to want to get married, to have more kids, to be part of the system again, you have to dangle some sugar. And some sugar has to be better than, well, you may get to see your kids. You may not pay that much money. You may get a woman that doesn't talk crazy to you. You may get a cooked meal. So feminism is ran so far that now the pendulum has to swing the other way. Even if it's 5%, it's got to swing, because men are not getting involved in the system. And also, the men's rights groups have been going on since the 80s. Men have been trying to fight this, but the majority block of people that are voting for laws are women. Even if every man in the country went and protested and voted and did everything they could to change child support laws, we could only do it if women supported us, because women are the largest voting bloc in the country. We are outnumbered just by population.
To be honest,
Hey, Rev.
of the vote jolting of people of age, of adult voting age, only maybe 20 to 30% of people who can vote do vote. So I think, to Red Pill's
Yes,
point,
but who's
the
more who votes at a higher rate?
white
Women.
men, wealthy white men. No.
Well, white women too. You can't
But
exclude white women.
But what I'm saying is that if you look, it's about if you look at the statistics for the past presidential election, and you can also look to your local election. It is about even. It's about 50-50. It's not that women are voting way more than men. It's that a majority of Americans aren't voting. Period. If you have only
I
20,
think
30% of the adult voting population who actually votes, and most of those people are upper to middle class people who vote not just in national elections but local elections. I'm supporting what you're saying, Red Pill. It's due to the people who are making the rules and deciding is not the majority of people. It is a small subset of people who are using the laws to their benefit, and that's why.
But that has always been the case,
hold on, hold on, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me jump in right quick. Me and this is why I always say men have to learn feminist talking points, where they come from a man or where they comes from a woman. And what Red Pill was saying, I agree with Red Pill was saying.
So do
It
I.
it and a lot of what's happening here is you have a lot of men who have been indoctrinated, and I see this a lot. I see this on those panels. I see it in society. We got men running around thinking and voting like women. So although everyone doesn't vote, those who do vote more liberal and leaning towards women issues. We have a lot of feminist men who are voting against their own issue to be leaders of the families, and they don't realize it until it's too late. And so this is what men have to realize. You have to understand when feminist points are being made, either by a woman or by a man. And if you don't recognize it, you're gonna be going to the polls voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and not understanding why this is the worst thing for you.
Well, but John
Hey,
the Baptist, you
facts,
have to.
facts.
But
My whole thing is I am an advocate for, and this is for black people, black men specifically. If we don't divest from the Democratic Party, we're gonna die a continual slow death. There's nothing in that party for us at all.
Mr. Payne,
At all.
to your point,
At all.
other communities are that generally have voted Democratic due to the issues are voting differently on a local level. There is an article because I follow the New York Times that they're
What do you
speaking
mean by
about.
that?
So what I mean is that traditionally Democratic areas, particularly in New York in the Brooklyn area, um, Koreans, China. I'm gonna get the groups, and I can drop the link in the
Okay.
chat. But they specifically, who have tended to vote Democratic, have been voting more Republican, particularly if they're working class, if they're not as educated.
And there's a
They are
growing push
switching.
for black men are doing that too.
No, but what I'm saying to your point is that it's not that it's that if there are issues or concerns, particularly locally, and then it can because that's what affects you the most, and then state and national wise, black people need to galvanize for those issues because it doesn't mean that we're in the Democratic Party's pocket.
We are in the Democratic
Wait,
Party,
wait, wait, I'm sorry. It
especially
doesn't
women.
mean we. It doesn't
We're
mean that we have to stay there. What I'm saying is that other groups are voting together
We ain't
based on the
talking about
issues
other
that are
groups. We're talking
affecting.
about black people.
okay. So we're talking
But
about
black
One of
we're,
our
people.
wait, wait,
biggest
wait, wait. We're
issues,
talking
and this
about
is wait,
political
let me
interests,
finish
right?
before anybody cuts me off. This is part of the issue. We are giving all of our votes, 90-something% black women, 90-something% black men to the Democratic Party, and none of that shit gives us anything. Child support laws, jail, any fucking thing. Listen, if we don't divest and make people vie for our
But you
votes,
have to speak about the positions that you
you
want
keep
people to
saying
vote.
all that. I
That's true.
saw the demographics for the big fat chick down in Georgia, whatever her name is. 85%. It was only 85% of black men who voted for her, and that was 95% of black women. But there was no planks in that whole election for what the hell? Stacey Abrams for black men. At the last minute, she said, "Let me throw you guys like $10 million so y'all can shut up like y'all should." I mean, this chick was an advocate for abortion. She was excuse me, the A word. She was none of that stuff benefits us.
I'm not going against you, Mr. Payne. What I'm saying is that for Black people. If you want to see a change, get with a coalition and say, hey, these are the
What
laws that we want to.
coalition, though? What coalition are you talking about?
I'm
If it's a
talking about.
coalition, if it's a coalition run by Black women, we need to run. We need to run as fast as we can from that shit.
That's
I'm
not.
not
That's.
saying
That's.
that.
I think. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hang on.
Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
I'm hearing you both. I'm hearing you both. Let's stop the argument because I'm hearing you both, and you're going in circles. I'm hearing you both. What we're talking about is political interest of Black people. Okay, now whether it be in
only men talk about Black people.
Hey, we heard Democrats bad. Yes, we got it. What we're talking about is political interest of Black people, whether it be party affiliated or not. What she's saying is, in order to actuate that kind of power, it's not going to be it's going to take a lot more than just the interest of one community to make a difference that's going to be in our favor. We have to be a part of a bigger table of negotiation that puts our interests forward, and it doesn't require. Okay, hang on, let me finish. Hang on, let me finish. It doesn't matter about party. It doesn't matter about party. It doesn't matter about politicians. What she's saying is a community. What she's saying is outside of politics. What she's saying is we need to give other communities have coffee clutches or have their little thing, their little powwow at the Chinese restaurant, like the Asians do. All men of power in the Asian community sit around a restaurant. They're not at a fundraiser. They're not at a this or that. They talk about what their needs and interests are, and it kind of propagates throughout the community. And that's what I think, Coco was trying to express, that we need to have that local thing.
I don't disagree with you. I put a piece out there why Black people need to divest from the Democratic, Black men, specifically, because I don't think Black women are going to do anything outside of their own interests.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they've been voting for years. We're sitting down here as simps, following these women, and we should take leadership. If we want to, I'm not saying this thing just for you being here, Red Pill, because I would have said this no matter what, because I've said it more than once. That we need to divest from the party. So whatever, we got a two-party system, so they could vie for our votes based on our needs. Even if you don't agree with Ice Cube, he came out with his thing, and it was Black women who chopped him down. It was Black women. Oh, and he said to Black women, hey, isn't a Black issue include women? And every single one of them, including the lesbians from Black Lives Matter, said no. It has to be Black women on the pen. So only Black men think about the Black community. Black women don't think about the community. They think about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So for the most part. So listen, I love Black women, but we need to lead.
But if we
follow them, we ain't going to have no change whatsoever.
I don't care if they Black, purple, white, pink, blue. Hold on for a second. We need to just get this shit done. Period.
Yeah.
Okay. What about this as a solution? What about this as a solution in the political, like Mr. Payne? Let me a political solution.
I'm gonna shut up.
No. I meant as a solution. What about this? And if we're gonna have political interests and we can't really rely on one party or the other, I would rather have more power in both parties and have our interests conveyed that way. So it doesn't matter which party does what.
How is that going to happen unless we divest from the Democrats?
No. It's a bike. It's a bike. It's a bike. You have to have hands on both handlebars, is what I'm saying. It has to be equal in order to have a steady relationship. It can't just be the left or the right. It takes both hands to have that balance. That's what I'm saying.
Let's get Callie Bev in here.
Y'all are trying to
unless we divest.
Y'all are trying to say.
All right. We heard the divest. We heard the divest. John the Baptist and then Callie Bev. Go ahead. John the Baptist, you there? All right, Callie Bev, go ahead.
I totally agree with EBD. I think straight ticket voting is for suckers. Now, at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, I mean, if you want to blame one party or the other, then I think you would need to look at that state's legislature. Because, I mean, I put it in the chat and I just Googled it real quick. 54% of all states have a Republican legislature. So, I mean, if you want to blame somebody, you can blame both parties for the current situation dealing with the state's child support laws. It's not just about divesting from the Democratic Party. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They don't say, oh, well, you're a Republican, so you don't have to go through this child support issue. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? It's affecting everybody, and everybody has a vested interest in fixing it. So I think to just, you know, to play political, you know, set tripping with it, I think is a little off kilter. But those were just my two things.
Awesome.
And can I just say lastly, Trigger Mike, please, for anyone who's interested, I dropped the link in the chat to speak about what specifically these communities voted on and determined what item made it that they voted for a Republican over a Democrat and vice versa. A lot of times when people vote, it's a single issue for national campaigns, but even locally, it's a single ticket item. What means the most to me? Is it crime? Is it reducing taxes? Is it, you know, because honestly, child support and all that falls on the maybe 9th, 8th. When you're looking, it's further lower when it comes to what people vote on.
Of course.
So therefore, if you do want to, and again, if you want to have this coalition or have this group, what I've learned about politics is that for Republicans specifically, they look at Texas to see, they tested in Texas to see if it works, and then they jump from different states to state for it to have a national effect. And that's what Black people need to do. We need to test it in our local communities, see what issues that we want, particularly if it's child support, then hey, speak to the men, join the meetings, all of that. So that's all.
Okay, let me ask you a question. In any Republican-run government or state or local level,
I live in one.
How many stores do we see a whole bunch of renegades just robbing and the police scared to even do anything? In what Republican red state city do you see that shit happening?
I don't know.
So wait a minute. You had just say we still keep, because even you guys trying to break it down to the local level. Show me where having a Republican run state legislation has, where we have video after video of predators and crazy ass, and now I'm sounding like chaotic, just going in and stealing shit and leaving where the cops are like powerless to do anything. What they're all run by Democrats at the local level. So stop it. You know, we need to get out of that goddamn party. All we are to them is victims and fodder so they can keep their stupid legislation. And all you women sitting down here giving us shit, the damn transgenders are trying to replace you as women.
All
and
I'm saying is
sports, wait a minute, sports, Title IX, throw that shit out the window. All of that kind of stuff. You guys are sitting down here, that whole policy of every goddamn thing goes is going to destroy us all. So,
right.
I mean, I don't know where you're coming from. And I'm not this big, staunch, conservative. Can't you see what the destruction all around is going on? Child support is just part of that.
I am. All right, that's it. So I'm adding to my list of things.
Tell them niggas why you mad, Mr. Payne.
Never bring up Democrats and
Mr.
black
Payne,
women
thank you,
in
sir.
front of Mr. Payne, or it's gonna get real.
I'm
all right?
sorry for disrailing this shit, man. I'm just telling you, man. It's all connected to me.
Let's get final thoughts on what was the topic again? Shit. Child support being unconstitutional.
No, the Democratic Party. And
Chissa. That chissa.
Same thing. If you ask
I'm
me.
sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Cali Bev. Last thoughts on child support.
Child support is a tool to collect funds to help raise a child, and like all tools, they can be used for good or they can be used for evil. Choose wisely. Thank you.
All right.
She just ran around the goddamn
I was gonna say, seeing as though only a certain group of people get child support, she kind of called half of y'all evil, at least.
Cali Bev is she is an undercover troll, man.
Truth Table. Final thoughts on child support.
Yeah, I definitely believe child support is unconstitutional. I'm glad to see there's some development happening. To Calibev's point, I think it is a tool and it was intended to do good, but I think that with anything that's monetarily connected, there's going to be greed attached to it. And that's why you see it the way it is developed now. So men, stay woke, educate yourself, and by all means, just wait, hold off. Don't be producing children outside of wedlock. It's treacherous.
And if she just so happens to get pregnant anyway, you have any advice for that? Never mind. I don't want to make it.
Listen to 7 on 7. Listen to that guy.
We got any? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. EBD.
First of all, the advice is use an alias, but like that dude. but I would say, yeah, child support is unconstitutional. I should have been in my court with my white wig on and my black robe talking this stuff. Yeah, it's unconstitutional. Wasn't I found this, never like this, and this. I should have just been on my. I should have, but I just didn't. I'm gonna say that for next time. But I would say, yeah. I mean, the only thing I'll say is to the IRS, I want my tax deduction as a dependent. I want that little checkbox checked, and I want all them receipts from the state saying that I paid every dollar, when I had a job, because that all that should count. I'm counting. I'm gonna be an accountant. I'm getting me Ben Affleck accountant, like for real. That's my
right. If the roof hang over.
So state better have your money. Got it. And the Fed. Got it. King Spark, final thoughts.
Yeah, ain't nothing really wrong with the child support thing. I know it just needs to be revamped. I don't mind the idea of child support, but it definitely needs to be revamped to where the child is getting the support. You understand what I'm saying? A foolproof way to where the child is getting the support. That's all I got.
Coco, final thoughts. Coco? Oh.
Our wife is muted.
You're still on mute. You're mute.
You're still on mute. Your job did that. They tired of you being on their clock.
You got double mute.
We got something for her. She thinks she's just about to. All right. Mr. Rich, go ahead. Coco, we'll come back.
Listen, I apologize to the panel for my little tirade there, but I'm telling you, I just think that no matter what we do, as long as we let the Democratic Party have most of our votes, we're doomed. Period. I just think that everything stems from that. Joe Biden is a racist, as far as I was concerned. He's got enough shit on record that shows that. There's enough shit on record. Just because he's a chameleon doesn't mean he's a good guy. Every law that's destroyed the black family, he was behind. And I was up and I was watching those hearings when he dragged Anita Hill up and down the Senate floor and compared black men to roaches and all this shit and was on the steps of segregation, keeping the kids out of that place. Let me tell you, we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled and shit and served like hell till one day we're gonna be hung in a cell. All I'm just trying to say is we need to understand that black women are out for their own best interest, and they have been that way for a lot of years. We can love them, we can marry them, we could do all of that shit, but they don't have black men what means important to us stuff in mind unless we take it. And the women who want to follow us, we will. The child support laws need to change, but it might be down on the rung of all the other stuff. Prison reform, closing private prisons, the closing the loophole in the 13th Amendment. There's a lot of shit that needs to happen. And child support is one of them. And so for men, just be cognizant of where you stick the tip in to the kind of woman you're doing it to. Because you're going to be off, you're going to be out of control of your environment for 18 to 21 years just for like 2 seconds of pleasure. Because none of y'all ain't going like John Awad Holmes. I mean, y'all going to be in there busting real quick. So all I'm just trying to say is, all I'm trying to say is Men, we need to just take back our rightful leadership, and we need to make the Republicans and we need the Democrats to fight for our votes, just like every other demographic out there. And we're not doing it, and it's destroying us. And that's it.
Hey, Mike,
Mr.
Mike.
Richland said, hold on. The Democrats suck. The president sucks. And none of you dudes can fuck worth a damn anyway. So I don't know why we have this.
Oh, it's like 5 minutes. The women will tell you it's 5 minutes.
Y'all can't do nothing in the chat. Wow. Well,
Hey, Mike, put that down in the notes, Mike. If Payne said if he apologizes for his rant, he's about to go on another rant. Write that shit down, okay?
This is the last thing.
Sorry,
Can y'all hear me?
This
is the last thing. I'm glad for this conversation. Y'all informed me about a lot of things. Again, if you want things to change, there has to be a tidal wave effect. A good amount of men have to speak up and talk to their legislators to get things going. And what it sounds like, things are slowly changing. I'm not going to say child support's unconstitutional. Like anything else, laws need to be updated and amended. And I think you're right. I think Red Pill made the point of that things are going to swing back more conservative. I mean, if you just look in the history of America, it always goes ups and downs from being progressive to being conservative and back again. So I think the swing is moving more on the right leaning direction.
All righty. Trucker Yale.
Sir, I agree with I don't listen. Choosing the right woman is valuable. So most definitely it's very important because y'all don't see the after effects of when that man. In the 7 years I've been to court, I've never seen a man come out with a smile. I've never seen a man come out with a smile. Never. And it's sad. So please choose wisely. It is definitely probably the second most important thing in your time. Hands down. That's the advice I wish I had growing up. So I'm just passing it forward. That's all I'm saying. Fuck the Democrats, I'm sorry.
What? This guy. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming through today, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow with another banger. We had an excellent topic today. Thanks to everybody who came through to talk about this sensitive topic, but we try to keep it fun and informational for you. You can always join us in the chat every weekday morning on the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. What's today? Wednesday? There's a good topic coming today. All right. So what I want you to do when you're done with this show, go over to the Lapeef Experience channel. That is the other channel on the Lapeef Network, the Lapeef Experience channel. We got an excellent topic for you tonight. I will be on that show as well, I think. So if you're a Trigger Mike fan, you like some of the things I say, if you think I talk good stuff or you think I talk some BS, either way, show me some love and tune into that show tonight. Go hit that bell for notifications on the Lapeef Experience channel. Bridging the Gap with Kelly is coming on tonight. I expect to see you there. Show your support. And as always, go over to my channel and give me a subscribe, all right? Well, I do clips and shorts as well, but you can always catch me here on the Lapeef Network 5 days a week, at least, unless I'm on vacation or something. So we had a great conversation today. Is child support constitutional? I think the panelists made a great case. We even had our first white man on the panel today. I think we're moving on up in the world, okay? But I want to thank everybody for coming through and showing your love. Make sure you subscribe to the channels of everybody that came through on the panel today on their individual platforms. I appreciate you. I'm out. Catch y'all tomorrow. Oh, I won't catch y'all tomorrow. My bad. Let me read these super chats. The Real Pookie. This conversation is sounding real victimish. AL, $5. The problem is child support is treated like debtor's prison, which is probably why it's unconstitutional. Drop me out, Mike. I'm frozen. Robert, appreciate the love, man. Coco, you're wrong. You don't know history. Clement Gray, $5. That mess happened on BMU last night. This is the reset about child support. They not gonna give something without taking? Watch and see. Set up. That might be a good point. The Gemini, $10. No, sir. Don't file child support before you file for joint custody. I'm going through it now. Caseworker and attorney, stated order, best for dads. All right. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Another banger. We'll catch y'all tomorrow on the Trigger Mike Show. I'm out.